Good evening, everybody. It is not the evening. It's actually 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here in the Greater Toronto area. It is Scouching Live. I am Will. I don't know why I said it was evening. I am tired. I was up really late last night, actually, playing Rematch because Discord member El Shabab, he goes by the alias El Shabab, and I and our graphic designer Rayanne Tubik were playing until 2 in the morning last night because that game is actually pretty good. So we might be doing some of that later on this month, having some fun before draft time. But also shout out Sam McGilligan giving me an invite code to the beta. So yeah, we're doing some community gaming nowadays, and it's keeping me
All
up. And I slept like crap,
all
and
I heard
now I
is
feel
Sam
tired.
McGilligan in beta, which I agree with.
True. Yeah. That. I mean, yeah.
Love you, Sam.
It's very fitting. Yeah. I mean, Sam catching strays live on the show, but regardless. Anyway, welcome to the
Aren't you
show.
gonna introduce me? Come on, man.
Well, I was on my way there. AJ, yeah, AJ's here. So there you go. Take
Thank
it away.
you.
Yeah.
Appreciate
There you
it.
go.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
All right. Yeah. So yeah. Well, today there's a lot going on. Obviously, last night the Carolina Hurricanes sadly eliminated in, I would argue, somewhat heartbreaking fashion against the Florida Panthers, and the Edmonton Oilers are on the brink of another return to the Stanley Cup Final.
hmm
So we might be looking at a rematch here. I don't know. While people file in, do you want to start with what happened last night? Carolina, Florida. Florida off to their third straight Stanley Cup
Are
final.
you surprised? Like, are you
Not
really
a
surprised?
little bit, but only because it's so much hockey. Like going to the Stanley Cup finals 3 times, playing like how Florida plays, even if they lose in the finals, like what a achievement. Like it's I doubted them because it was like I just think at some point the tank has to run empty. Like at some point playing like that, how many games? Like two almost 300 games in 3 years. Like that is not easy in the least.
hmm
And so that's what surprises me. But watching them play and how they play and all of that stuff, that is not surprising to me. That is the thing where I go, yeah, this team looks like a team that can beat pretty much anybody. I don't know. How about, I mean, I know you're probably not surprised,
Nope.
but you also didn't have them go into the cup
I
final, I don't
didn't.
think,
I
right?
thought.
So,
Well, the reason I didn't is because I thought they were too hurt at the beginning of the playoffs,
mm,
and it didn't matter. And as soon as I saw them beat Tampa, I'm like, okay, they're going to the Cup final.
right,
As
right.
soon as they beat Tampa the way they did, it's like, okay, pencil them in. It's done. I shouldn't have. I should have just picked them to go to the Cup final. I'm just gonna make an adjustment and say it out loud that this is the team that's gonna win again because it's the Florida Panthers and the play style is just ridiculous.
Yes, it is. It is extremely ridiculous. And that's,
It's
I mean,
ridiculous
look,
because it's the right way to play. Like that is
it
what you are
is.
trying to capture, and teams and other GMs and other people, at least from my understanding, believe that it is the physicality of the Florida Panthers and the way they hit you that is the driving factor when it is not. It is just
It's half
how.
right.
No, it's not half right. It's not half right. That's just a bonus. You know?
Yeah.
That's like the $20 signing bonus that Jesperi Kotkaniemi got when he was offer sheeted to Carolina. That's what that is, all right? It means literally nothing other than to take a jab at people, all right? It's just how fast they play and how they just demoralize you and brutalize you, and it's a war of attrition where you just run out of gas against them because they're going to wear you down. So, ultimately, I would not be surprised if they win. But Connor McDavid, man. Connor McDavid. That guy is on a mission. He's the GOAT.
Yes.
He's the GOAT. I don't care. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care if he doesn't win a cup. This guy is too good. Guy's too
Yeah.
good.
I mean, I think the Oilers also deserve some respect because I think they as a team have really just become something extremely impressive. Like
Yeah.
like the whole team, it's not what they were. Like the difference between the Oilers in games 1 and 2 against LA and the Oilers now, it's like two completely different teams almost. Like I don't know what happened, but I think I it's just they are. knowing what I know now, like obviously with the benefit of hindsight and everything, it's easy to say it, but like between the two teams that made it to the Stanley Cup Finals, like watching them play so much during the playoffs, I I
Well,
don't know who else like
there's still
could
Dallas, right?
right. They're still Dallas, but like the Oilers
Probably
have
not.
the
Like
upper hand.
they're
The Oilers have the upper hand
yeah.
there, I think. And like I don't know what other team based on how they have played I would go, boy, this team really deserves to be right in the mix
No,
too.
these are the
Like,
two. These are the two teams that
I don't think I would have
deserve
said
to
that
be
at the
there.
beginning of the playoffs at
No, I
all.
made fun of you for picking Edmonton, and I still think that I wasn't wrong to make fun of you. There's like they shouldn't have been this good, all things
Right.
considered, with all the disasters they dealt with. But like Connor McDavid, man, I just think I can't prove this, but I have a large suspicion that Connor McDavid is the driving force even off the ice.
Oh, 100%.
Like, that guy knows how to galvanize people with a speech, all right?
Yeah.
Because he is the best player in the world, and he's insanely intense. And you just have to go like, if the best player in the world, who is this much better than everybody else, is telling me this, and he's going out there and performing at that level, says we can do it, I'm going to believe him. I'm going to believe him, and I'm going to go out there and cause hell for Connor because
exactly.
that guy is just too good. He's too good to disappoint. You can't disappoint that man.
No, and like Leon Draisaitl is also just his own monster. Like
Yes.
it's like I don't know if it was us talking about it or the broadcast talking about it, but like one of the things that's so hard to play against for people playing Edmonton is like on one hand you have Connor McDavid, who is Connor McDavid, you know, all speed, all skill, all craziness, like balls to the wall, off the chain, yeehaw hockey. And then you have Leon Draisaitl, who is like the Shaquille O'Neal of the NHL, where it's like, I don't know how he necessarily does it, but he's one of the best players in the league. And it's the opposite. It's like they're like polar opposites.
This is what I said because I'm smarter than the Sportsnet broadcast, okay?
Right. You game plan for one, and the other one has a different set of advantages, and then you may try to game plan for that one, but then you have Connor McDavid. Like, obviously, it's like, well, yeah, you're some of the best hockey players in the world. You just have to find a way to counter them. But it does make it all over the place, like with regards to how they play. Like they can play fast, they can play slow, like they can muck it up. Guys like Perry and Podkolzin and
Corey Perry's
these
still
guys
so insanely effective. Like
he just does what he does, man.
Corey Perry's been going to Stanley Cup Finals and winning or getting like just missing out on winning since I started watching Stanley Cup Finals. Corey Perry was in the very first Stanley Cup Final I ever watched with Anaheim defeating Ottawa when I was in first grade, okay? Corey Perry is that guy, man. He's just ridiculous. Like, he just finds a way to be annoying and a pest and still contribute at an advanced age. He's nuts. Like, Corey Perry is just, I don't want to say he's criminally underappreciated, but I definitely criminally underappreciated what Corey Perry can do for a while.
Like, the guy has played over 100 playoff games since the pandemic.
Yeah.
That is ridiculous. That is ridiculous.
And how old was he when the pandemic started?
He would have been 35.
Yeah, that's nuts.
He would have just been he would have been
nuts.
34, just about to turn 35. And he has played over 100 playoff games since.
And likely four Stanley Cup Finals in that time frame as well.
Dallas, Montreal, Tampa Bay, and then eliminated in the first round against Toronto. Edmonton.
So
Edmonton.
Potentially five. Yeah.
5 Stanley Cup Final appearances in 6 seasons is absurd. I don't know how many people have ever done that. Regardless of what you think about the role in which he has played on these respective teams, it doesn't really the fact that he's there that many times is an achievement in and of itself.
And a contributor.
Yeah, and a good contributor. Like, he's not the guy, but he's very important.
He's on the Oilers power play, for Christ's sakes.
Yeah. Yeah. So like I don't know. I look at um the Oilers. I mean, again, yeah, you're right. Like they're not out of it. The Dallas Stars. It's not over, but the momentum seems to be going one way here, and oh god, like McDavid and Draisaitl are just proving again that they're like, yeah, like doesn't matter, like doesn't matter who else is on the team with us, but we'll make it work. We'll find a way to make it work. Like Ryan Nugent Hopkins is over a point a game when he had a 50-point season this year. Evan Bouchard over a point a game, being a 70-point guy this year, 65-point guy. Zach Hyman, obviously out for the rest of the playoffs, sucks, but I don't think it's going to hamper them that much. I mean, it is because it's Zach Hyman. Like he's a very, very good player, but I look at that team and I go, they'll probably find someone who can step up.
Doesn't
and
matter. I love Zach
keep
Hyman, and you can say he's like an elite complementary player, but he's a complementary player. You can replace that to an extent.
Well, it's
and
more
also
that,
the best
like,
player in the world.
Yeah, and it's more like Edmonton's depth, I think, has showcased themselves where it's like, yeah, if one guy like
Forward,
Hyman
yeah.
goes down, we'll figure it out. Someone will step up and someone will figure it out. I don't think it's going to kill their chances of winning a Stanley Cup here.
No.
So it's it's pretty
They have
wild.
one of our gems, Trent Frederick, as well. Like we've been glazing
our
Trent
hero
Frederick for like 2 years now.
Yep.
I love Trent Frederick.
Yeah, you look at the guys they've added, right? Say what you will about Stan Bowman, but like Vasily Podkolzin has been a good ad for them.
Adam
Victor
Henrique.
Arvidsson has been decent. Adam Henrique, Jake Wallman, Trent Frederick. Like they're even playing Kasperi Kapanen in the playoffs.
I know.
Like Kasperi Kapanen, Toronto Maple Leafs legend, Pittsburgh Penguins legend, Kasperi Kapanen might be going to a Stanley Cup final and might be getting his name on a Stanley Cup. Who would have thought? It's crazy. Like they're fun to watch. The fans in Edmonton
they lean into who they are as well.
Yes,
like
and you cannot fault them for that at all.
Go.
Yeah. They are high energy, end-to-end hockey. It'll be very interesting, assuming they win this series. It'll be very interesting to see them play against Florida this year. Like part of me wonders about, Florida went to the Stanley Cup final and lost, and they came back and played their brand in a more extreme way, and they won the cup.
Yeah.
And they beat Edmonton. Edmonton this year, especially in the last two series, have played a way where they seem like last year's Edmonton Oilers, but like I remember, I could be wrong, I'd have to look it up, but I feel like Edmonton had, even in the second and third rounds of the playoffs last year, Edmonton, even in the Stanley Cup final, Edmonton went down 3-0.
Yeah.
And it was like, God, like this team is kind of falling apart, but then they would find a way to do it. This year, that happened one time. It happened one time against LA, and ever since, literally almost every single game ever since, it's been like, yeah, they are undoubtedly the better team in that game. Like there's just no ifs, ands, or buts, and I don't think you can say that about the Oilers of last year.
No.
And the Panthers this year, they're still an excellent team. Like they could very easily win a Stanley Cup here, right? Like, but I don't think it's going to be the same story where they win 3-1 on Edmonton and put them against the rope. And
to be fair, though, they dummied two of the teams that they've played in these playoffs. They dummied Carolina and they dummied Tampa. And
they did.
They went down 2-0 against Toronto and then dummied them after that, basically.
Yeah. My bigger point is about Edmonton, though, relative to last year and like how Florida last year to 2 years before, they were like a more refined and determined version of themselves and did not let what happened against Vegas happen to them. And now you have Edmonton, I think, who is like, they're not like Florida really in like the way they play.
Not at all.
They're not like
fast.
Florida at all. But they are an interesting counter.
And then they're dynamic, right? Because what I was saying about the Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid thing is fastest player or like one of the fastest players in the world and just the best player in the world. You're struggling to keep up with him. Then Leon Draisaitl comes on the ice and everything slows down. And then you have to adjust to slowing down all of a sudden. So it's very different. But I think if this series does happen, I honestly think that Edmonton gets out to a lead. I could see it going out where Edmonton starts off really hot and they're up 2-0, just like Toronto even. And Florida wears you down. It's a war of attrition with Florida. They're going to the physicality is actually probably more important to them than I led on earlier, because it is a part of their mindset of tuckering you out. And Florida will still go at them hard in terms of like forechecking and a lot of pressure with a lot of speed, and they're going to finish their checks. So I will be curious to see what Edmonton looks like in Game 4 of a Stanley Cup Final against Florida if the wheels come off, because they could with Edmonton, considering like goaltending. It's been great recently, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
And I'm not putting it past the Edmonton Oilers to have it flip back on their head that way, because it absolutely could.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're definitely right. It is going to be very interesting. I can't wait. I mean, again, the Stars are not dead. You know, it's still possible for them to come back. But I just like the Oilers. Like, the Dallas Stars might win games, but I feel like the Oilers often have the momentum and very quickly can suck the life right out of the Dallas Stars. Like,
yeah, and then they just play with the puck and you can't touch it. Like it literally is like the song "Can't Touch This" when Connor McDavid's out there. He's just doing whatever he wants. Throws a pass where he opens up so much space because of his speed. Puck's in the back of the net. Oh, that's the game.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, luckily Dallas is at home tonight, so that's good. Are they? Right? Yeah, it's in Dallas tonight. Is it? Flash score, I never remember what order let's see. It is yeah, it's in Dallas. Okay, that makes sense. So, yeah, maybe Dallas pulls this one off, but who knows? I feel like going back to Edmonton and the environment that they're in with how good they've been in Game 6 would be a tough challenge for sure.
So did you want to do a post-mortem with Carolina? Because I just
I was just going to say,
we could go for that.
Yeah, I mean, I I actually like, it's very interesting to me seeing the talk and the chatter about Carolina. And obviously, the way people talk on the internet, you kind of just ignore it, you know, whatever. It's just like, you know,
1 in 16.
Yeah, people just writing whatever they want. Like, I don't know. I look at the Carolina Hurricanes as anything but a failure. Like,
Exactly.
I think watching them last night too, like they almost won that game. Like, there were so many chances where like Sebastian Aho had an open net and he like missed somehow from 2 feet out, and it went behind Bobrovsky and across both posts. And I don't know what happened, but like they had a power play at the end of the game, and the chances they generated, like like it and the like, I don't know. The thing is too, here's another thing too, right? We're in Toronto, and the difference, like, Carolina has won 1 out of the last 12 or 13. They've gone 1-12 in the last whatever it is 4 years. Three times in 4 years they've been to the Stanley Cup or the conference final.
1 in 16 in the last.
1 in 6. Yeah. Going back to a little further back,
Yeah.
but like recently, this iteration of the team
Fair enough
has been 1-12. But what happened at the end of the game? The fans were on their feet. The fans were going ballistic for the team, and you could tell that like they love those guys. The fans and that team are like this, and it sucks. I think the mentality is, and again, I do this sometimes, I lurk on subreddits and just sort of check out the vibes. The mentality is like, yeah, it sucks, and yeah, people are making fun of us and it hurts a lot, but like, how can you fault them? Like, how they made it this far again, and it's like there is a certain, I would, what you wouldn't give if you live in Toronto for a team that at least got to 3 Eastern Conference Finals in 4 years, right? Like, that's a level of success that I think, like, to be in the 32 team NHL, one of the 4 best teams multiple years in a row. Yeah, you don't win the Stanley Cup. Of course, that's the ultimate goal. But like, you have to keep things in perspective of like, that's an amazing accomplishment too. Like,
I think it's 2 in the
pretty
last
wild.
3 years, because
It's
2 in the last 3 years because the
Okay.
Islanders made the conference finals the other time
Right.
twice in a row.
Right. Yeah, right. The last multiple years have all just blended
And
together. I
then
don't know.
Carolina had that run against where they lost against Boston.
So 3 in the last 5.
Yeah, 3 in the
Okay,
last 5 or 6,
right.
something like
Look,
that.
still, right? Like that's still an amazing
Yeah.
achievement. And like I look at how and the fact that Carolina is also a team that has $28 million in cap space and did that, like, and the guys that are on UFA deals are like, you got Brent Burns and Dmitry Orlov, really, and the rest are like Roslovic or Fast
Well, at
Robinson.
least Mitch Marner will go to my second favorite team.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, I mean, like, if I'm Carolina, like, I don't know how
That's
you're
the
down on this.
perfect environment for Mitch Marner, I think.
Yeah, oh well,
I was always
yeah,
scared that it was going to be William Nylander going there, and I mean, I'm going to be honest. I, William Nylander is my favorite player, and I'm so glad he's going to be on the Leafs for a long time. But I would have loved to keep Marner if he still wants.
yeah.
Please stay, Mitch. Please don't go. Please
Like
stay.
the other thing too, and like it just goes to show how, in my opinion, like Carolina is such a good example of a well-run hockey team.
Yeah,
Like they just consistently find ways to be competitive without making wild swings all over the place, right?
they
Like
said no to
think
Dougie
about it,
Hamilton asking for $9 million, and
right.
how like I love Dougie Hamilton, but is it worth it?
Well, they spent 7 on Dmitry Orlov, who
But
was
for
not very
yeah,
good, I
but for
don't think, in the
two
playoffs this year.
years. But for two
Yeah,
years, and I kind of get it, you know. But like
I mean, I get it. Yeah,
Dougie
I get it.
Hamilton's lock up to a 7-year deal. Or what was a 7-year deal,
Yep.
right? And like he's played maybe half that time. Like you kind of
He's
just
been
sit
injured a
there with
lot. Yeah,
you sit there with a big hole
yeah,
because
it's true.
Dougie's great, but he gets hurt a lot, and it does suck. But I do love him.
Yeah, yeah. So, but the thing I was trying to say was like they have spent years being competitive, right? Yeah, they haven't won a Stanley Cup, but when was the last time the Carolina Hurricanes were like bad, right? Even when they got Svechnikov, we went through this before. They won the lottery and like jumped up a bunch of spots. Like the last time Carolina was actually really bad, I don't remember the last
When I was
time.
a kid,
Right. And in the process of
like after
doing
their
this
cup
thing all
run.
the time, being competitive and doing the thing, they landed Seth Jarvis,
Yep.
you know, and that was with a pick that was given to them for taking on a
Patrick Marleau.
contract. That was how they used cap space to their advantage. They nailed that draft pick because Seth Jarvis was amazing in the playoffs this year, I felt. And then they also added like a Logan Stankoven based. They had a player who didn't even want to be there that they spent an arm and a leg on, and they got
And gave up
Stankoven
Martin H for as well.
and gave him Martin H's for. Yep, that's true. But they got Stankoven instead, and multiple high picks that they can play with now. So adding Seth Jarvis and Logan Stankoven and even Jackson Blake. Like Jackson Blake was pretty good in the playoffs this year as well.
They
Like
brought in some of their younger guys as well. Like I'm not the biggest fan of Nikishin, but he's solid. He's just
he was
fine.
all right. Yeah, like
And
I
Scott
mean,
Morrow, I didn't see like I'm gonna be honest, I
yeah,
haven't seen a ton, but like I would imagine
yeah,
it was shaky at times, but also
it
like
was shaky. Yeah.
yeah.
Like I wouldn't say he was bad, but he's not a player I think that at this age and at this stage in his career is like fully equipped to be on a Stanley Cup winning top 4 pair, right? Like I don't think he's quite there yet. But at the end of the day, I mean, I still look at the Carolina Hurricanes and I'm looking up and down their roster and I go, for a team that hasn't been bad in a long time and having like acquired all of these players over the years that like are just really good players that are young, right? Like Stankoven's 22, Jackson Blake is 21, Seth Jarvis is 23, Jesperi Kotkaniemi is 24. I think people forget that. Andrei Svechnikov, another one, he's 25,
Yeah.
right? Like Sebastian
Just born the
Aho is
same year as
27.
me, is Andre Svechnikov.
Bradley Nadeau made the team and played a little
Yeah.
bit with them this year. He's 20. Like I don't know how you look at this and go, they're a failure. What a brutal group of guys. Alexander Nikishin, they just brought him over. He's 23. Scott Morrow, 22. Like, I get it. It's fun to look at them and go, ha ha ha, 1-12 in their
That
last 3 Eastern
dude,
Conference
that's just
appearances.
every
Right, right,
team
right.
coping that
Yes,
their
they're
team
not
didn't
there.
win the cup.
Yeah,
That's
they're just
that's why everybody takes a dump on every other team. It's like, haha,
yeah,
let's shift the focus onto another team for being pathetic. If you don't win the cup, you're a loser. It's as simple as that, okay?
exactly.
You're a loser. We're all losers together. We're not all
Yeah,
equally losers, but we're all losers.
Yeah, like I would take Carolina's group any day of the week, any day,
Yeah.
forever. And they have zero. I'm looking at their list of contracts right now. I don't think they have any bad deals. Like at least in terms of things that are actively harmful long term. Their highest paid player is Sebastian Aho, who is signed for 4 more seasons at 9 3/4, which might be a little bit much, but
It's
like
it's a
I don't
little
think it's
much,
that
but
bad.
you got to
Like,
pay your stars.
but then also you've got Seth Jarvis at 7.4,
Excellent.
Svechnikov 7.5,
Excellent.
Kotkaniemi is 4.8. Who, like, say what you will about Kotkaniemi, but like 4.8 this in these days is like
I
nothing.
mean,
Uh,
it's probably a little much, but honestly, they do
sure, but
they save so well everywhere else that it
right.
doesn't really matter.
Like Will Carrier for 2 million. I thought he was good in the playoffs
Sick.
this year for what he does. Jacob Slavin 6.4. Like it does.
He is a little older and he's got a few
Sure.
more years left, but it's not gonna look terrible, especially
In
with the cap increase.
Yeah, in 5 years, I don't think anyone's going to care.
No.
Sean Walker 3.6 until 2029.
So like that's come
Like
on. Like
Shane Gostisbehere has his moments where you want to just like rip his head off, but $3.2 million for
I
Shane Gostisbehere for
don't
2 years.
understand how Sean Walker did not get more money. Yeah, like it just blows my mind that Sean Walker did not get 5. I would have given him
Well,
5 by 5.
I think this is a nice segue because there's been a lot of chatter
do
in
it.
my universe about Marco Rossi, because if I'm the Carolina Hurricanes and Marco Rossi is on the block looking for 7 by 7, that would make Marco Rossi their 4th highest paid forward if he took $7 million from them for 7 years, right? And he'd be paid as much as Taylor Hall, Jordan Martinook, and Mark Jankowski combined, right? I would take that. like if anyone is unfamiliar, there was a report today that is so asinine that I'm convinced it's either fake or a lie or broken telephone or something. But someone threw out there a daily face-off that was then reiterated by David Pagnotta that
The
Marco
most
Rossi.
credible insider of all time.
No,
Let's
but
be
but
definitely
it's been reported often enough that the Minnesota Wild do not want to pay Marco Rossi a $7 million contract for 7 years. They don't want to give him the Boldy deal, which on one hand, I maybe understand it because you might be seeing Matt Boldy as a more valuable player, which fair enough. But also $7 million now is not what $7 million bought you when Matt Boldy was signed. It's just a different environment. And it's going to be a very different environment in 24 months. And
Who's the best center on the Minnesota Wild for your money?
I'd have to look at their roster one sec.
Because Marco Rossi has a case for being the best center on that team.
I mean, like a really good second line center on a cup winning team, I could see him being that. Like their best center. I mean, between Eriksson Ek.
It's between him and Eriksson Ek, really.
Eriksson Ek, right? Yeah. Like and so the report was that if he was going to be going to Florida, Florida doesn't want to part with Tyson Forster, who they literally just extended today.
Sorry.
Yeah, Philadelphia, sorry. Or it was Tyson Forster or one of their late first round picks, which by my math is around 22 and 31 or 32, something like that. And
I do it in a heartbeat.
And Philadelphia says no because they don't want. And so to me, I look at it and I go, Philadelphia has 11 draft picks this year and has 7 in the first 2 rounds. And they have an opportunity to land Marco Rossi for like 31st overall in 2025. And they're saying no because they don't want to pay him $7 million a year.
A floor of at least a 2C.
And they have $28 million in cap space to spend. I guess now it's more like 25, 24 because they just re-signed Tyson Forster. But still,
who cares?
Yeah, so
like, it's Marco Rossi.
They have $23 million in cap space, and $7 million is $750,000 less than they're paying Sean Couturier. And Sean Couturier is 32 and signed until until 2030. Like that's child's, like they're paying Rasmus Ristolainen and Nick Seeler $7.8 million combined for 2 more years. And they're looking at Marco Rossi and they're like, I don't know, maybe not. It's like, what are we doing here? Like, in what universe is that not something you do immediately? Like, yeah. I guess I guess that Marco Rossi in the playoffs was on their fourth line, and
Still scored.
yeah, he
He
got
still
pushed around a little
scored.
bit, but he was like, yeah, he was like their fourth leading scoring forward in the playoffs this year, like something like that. He had like some key goals, and like I don't know how you bet against a guy like Marco Rossi, but it seems like teams are just continuously doing that. And look at Logan Stankoven in Carolina. When they needed some goals in that series against Florida, who scored them? Who generated the offense for them? They scored 10 goals in that series. He had points on 3 of them, which
And who was he playing next to?
I don't even know.
Jordan Stahl and Jordan Martinook.
Right.
Do those guys put points in the back of the net?
No.
No.
No. No.
No.
So I cannot fathom that at all in my mind. And the amount of money someone's going to pay someone like Sam Bennett, right? Like, is Sam Bennett going to get a 7-year deal for $70 million?
Yeah, see, that's what Philadelphia's doing. They're just saving their
Right.
money for Sam Bennett. Okay, Will, they got to have that Broad Street bully type, and Sam Bennett is going to be the #1 center next to Travis Konechny and Matvey Michkov. Come on, idiot. Get with the program.
Like, you're almost paying $6 million for Garnet Hathaway, Ryan Poehling, and Nicholas Deslauriers combined. Hathaway is 33, making 2.4 until 2027. Ryan Poehling is 26, making 1.9 million, and Nicholas Deslauriers is making 1 3/4 this season, and he's 34. Like,
just not good at hockey. I'm sorry.
I just don't get. It's so. Like, this is what I mean. Like, this specific report is so mind-numbingly crazy to me that either, like, I don't understand it to the point where it has to be fake. It has to be a lie.
So let me
has
rephrase
to be,
it. Nick Deslauriers is not good enough for NHL hockey. My apologies.
well, I mean, like, a 34-year-old Nicholas Deslauriers. Like, I get that he has a role,
but it's just a.
But the point I'm trying to make is, like,
off the honey, as Brad Treliving would say.
The point I'm trying to make is just like that. Those 3 guys combined make a comparable amount to what Marco Rossi might sign for, and I mean, it just blows my mind, right? Like, especially because Florida has, again, 7 picks in the first 2 rounds.
Philadelphia, sorry, Will.
And the odds that you get a guy like Marco Rossi this season in the draft, even past like 20th overall, maybe, I think is so slim, like so slim, because of how much value a guy like that brings. But
let's put this into perspective for a second. Who would you rather have from the 2025 NHL draft class than Marco Rossi? With confidence.
Schaefer.
Okay. Misa?
Maybe. But Rossi is a much more active, like, defensive player than Michael Misa, and I have less concerns about players that play like that. Honestly, I don't think Rossi would be any lower than 3 on the board this year if he were eligible this year. I think he'd be number 2. I don't think he'd be number 1 but like, Schaefer is not without holes, but I think Schaefer's offensive game is just so good that it's hard to ignore. Hagen's maybe Hagen's over Rossi, but I think that's a stretch. I don't know. I love the way Rossi plays. Like, Rossi is such a good example of the type of player that I love. And it's so, the crazy thing to me is knowing what I know about Marco Rossi and having watched him since he was 16 years old. It's like, what are we doing here in this sport? Do you want to win games? Do you want to put a team on the ice that will compete and battle and win? Because you and I were talking about this before the show.
Yes.
What is it about the Florida Panthers that gets them through every playoff round? It is their sheer will to win. They will crush you with intensity.
The Mongolian Horde.
They are the Mongolian Horde. So what if that's what you want to emulate? If the NHL wants to emulate what Florida does, just like how they wanted to emulate what Boston did in the 2010s or whatever, which, again, I think teams torpedoed themselves doing that. But, like, if you really want to emulate the Florida Panthers, a guy like Marco Rossi is kind of what you want. But I guess not. Like, I guess that's not what we're valuing.
I swear, teams, like, the hitting is a smoke screen of, like, confusion for teams. Like, oh, this is the reason. See, they're being physical. They're hitting
Right.
everybody. That's what you need to do. And they're not picking up on, hey, it's because they just hound you and you don't get any time to play with the puck. And as soon as you give it away to them, they're going to punish you. That's a team that
Right.
punishes every single mistake you make.
Well, and even if you like, and the thing too, and the thing that I like about Rossi is like, even under pressure, Florida finds ways to slip pucks through traffic, find supportive guys. They're always sort of playing as a unit. There's no, I don't think, when I watch the Florida Panthers, I
Yeah.
can't really identify, like Connor McDavid, like I can't identify a guy that the entire thing revolves around. Like I don't think they have that.
No.
But they have such good awareness of where each other are.
They let
Is
the
where
defensemen go and play offense.
well,
Like,
that too. That
they
too.
don't mind. They have two
No.
Selke candidates on their first line
Yeah,
because
and-
they can do that. They can just be like, "Here's Seth Jones. You go score and ruin the Leafs' chances at winning this game 7. We got you covered, buddy. You're good."
Yeah.
So that's what they do. They can just be more aggressive because they have more confidence in their group to cover for them.
Yeah.
And as a result of it, it's way harder to deal with. Oh, the defenseman's pinched up. And now he's going in and taking a shot, and oh, it's in the back of the net, right? Like,
Yeah.
Florida has a lot of talent, but they also have an incredible system that just plays to all their strengths and really, really challenges other teams in a way that no other team can do at this point.
Like
Or
Carolina.
no other team does.
So to bring this back to Carolina, I want to look at what, because they have a first round pick this year, but they also have 2 for next year. And it, like, if the price tag that Philadelphia is saying no to, like, Carolina has $28 million in cap space. They have more space than Philadelphia. And if Carolina, if this is true, if it's true what's happening with Philadelphia, and Carolina comes out and goes, well, we'll give you our first round pick this year for Marco Rossi, like, or give you one of the picks that Dallas sent us for Rantanen. Like, the Carolina Hurricanes in the last, when was Seth Jarvis drafted? 2020?
Yes,
Was it 2020?
It was 2020.
So in the last 6 draft classes, with a team that has in that period been to the Eastern Conference Finals 3 times,
Yep.
they will have added Logan Stankoven, Seth Jarvis, and Marco Rossi if they do that. And like, that's just mind-boggling to me. Like that I mean, obviously the Jarvis thing was like good scouting on their part and all that stuff, and obviously taking advantage of a situation Toronto was in. But at the end of the day, like, the point is, like, they have accumulated, they do such a good job, like,
Asset
accumulating
management. They are the
good
best
art.
at that. They trade down, they get great value.
Well, and they see the value in a guy like Stankoven.
You know what's
Like, they,
also hilarious? I feel like you and I are really good at picking up on what guy is going to fall to Carolina way too late and who they're going to add. Like, it's just tradition, it feels
they're
like.
usually Russian.
Yes. I remember thinking, so Timur Mukanov's going to Carolina as soon as
Yeah.
I watched it. Like, so this guy is going to get picked by the Carolina Hurricanes.
Yeah.
And there he was.
I actually texted someone there while the draft was going on in whatever year that was. And I was like, okay, so you're going to draft Mukanov soon, right? And he goes, not yet. And then, like, half an hour later, I get a winky face text message. And I'm like, oh, what the hell is this? And then, like, 2 seconds later, Timur Mukanov's name flies off the board. And I'm going, okay, like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, this is what we're doing here. Like, they took Vladimir Grudinin, and I was watching,
Gleb
dude,
Trikazov,
I was
we
watching
knew he was going there
Grudinin.
too.
I was watching Grudinin last week a little bit because he was playing in for the men's team. He was playing for the Russian men's team against Belarus and Kazakhstan, which not the best level of play, but regardless, he was playing like 20 minutes a night for them, and he was playing like 24, 25 minutes a night in the KHL. And yeah, he doesn't score a ton, but my God in heaven, I still think that guy has a lot of potential whenever he comes over and plays in North America, even if he is a little bit smaller. Like,
Do you like him more than you like Nikishin?
they're different. Like if he shot the puck like Nikishin can shoot the puck, then probably I would like I would like him better.
Okay.
But I feel like Nikishin's the size he has and the sort of physical edge he has to him. Gridinin is like more of a finesse defender who has like skill and like creativity and skating ability. Like, but they're just two different players. I
Okay.
mean, I probably would lean Nikishin, but only just. And Grudinin's younger too, right? I think so. Anyway, regardless, regardless, the Carolina Hurricanes are just a really, really good example of this. So to me, knowing that this report came out, if I'm Eric Tulsky, I get on the phone immediately and I go, yeah, we could use another center, which they could, right? Like their center depth is Aho, Kotkaniemi, Jordan Stahl. That's about it, really, right? So adding a Marco Rossi to that, like if your top two centers are Aho, Rossi, that's
Yeah.
not bad. With
Yeah.
Kotkaniemi as your third center, and you maybe spend some money in the offseason, bring in another winger, because I think they need some more firepower, even though Stankoven's there and Nadeau and Blake. Like if
If
they
they
could, I
bring
mean,
in
let's
Mitch
say they do
Marner,
go out and get
man,
Mitch Marner.
like, oh, God.
Like if they spend $20 million of their cap space of their
You said
28
okay,
million.
between the two.
Yeah, between the two. If they spend $20 million for 7 on Rossi and 13 on Marner, that's 20 million. They still have $8 million to play with. And they've added Marco Rossi, and it costs them that much money and a first round pick. If I'm Carolina, I'm hammering that so hard. I am hammering that. And I think that's a decent way to spend your money.
Yeah.
And I know, and people will make fun of it because Rossi is small and really kind of, I mean, on one hand, unproven in the playoffs, but like Troy Terry just got a $7 million contract. He hasn't played a single playoff game.
Well, Troy Terry's good. That's the other thing, you know?
Right. But like the argument against a guy like Rossi is like, well, when the playoffs come, boy, he's going to get run over. It's
yeah,
like,
that's why he scored on the fourth line with,
yes.
Who was it? Yakov Trenin and
yeah,
what other player that does very little to nothing?
Is it Brazeau that he was playing with?
Might have. It could have been.
Or Frederick Gaudreau?
Yes, it was Yakov Trenin and Justin Brazeau on the fourth line. That's where Marco Rossi was. That's the two players he was saddled between. And he still scored in spite of that. So
yeah, I guess at the end of the day, Carolina, like if I'm Eric Tulsky and he's not a stupid guy, I see that report and I'm on the phone with Bill Guerin going, let's say figure something out here, because if you don't want to pay him that kind of money, I will. Right? Like they can afford it. I think in 2 years, $7 million is much, much, much more manageable. So even if he does become a really good third line center for you, Kotkaniemi's your fourth line center, and maybe you add another top 6 guy or something somewhere, I could easily see how that could be quite an ad for you. And so I guess the point is, we're doing a post-mortem here on the Carolina Hurricanes. They are doing just fine.
Yeah.
Like I personally see things as like, yes, obviously you want to win a Stanley Cup, but I'll take a team that gets to the Final Four multiple times
with
rather
this much
than
flexibility.
And with this much flexibility, then think it's some sort of epic failure and that something completely needs to shift. Like I think their play style does need to change a little bit.
Yeah.
Like I think that Florida kind of woke them up a little bit in the first couple of games of this series and was like, yeah, no, the things that you do aren't going to work against us. It's just not going to work. And I think Carolina in that game last night were much better at, I think, pushing back against what Florida does, and that was a winnable game. Carolina had they were right there, and it just didn't go their way. And I think that Carolina might take that and go, okay, how can we carry this forward and make some shifts? I feel like just by default, watching Burns and Orlov together, leaving the team as unrestricted free agents. Like maybe you keep a guy like Burns on a cheap deal, but I think losing those two guys and maybe tweaking how your defense approach the game a little bit could drastically shift the way that offense works, because a lot of the source of those attempts on net from the perimeter were guys like Brent Burns. So
but they've always been like that, to be fair.
Right. But like maybe this is their opportunity to go, okay, we're losing the guys that are kind of responsible for a lot of that. So let's try to bring in guys that, can tweak things a little bit and, refocus how we play sort of in the offensive zone, because I think that's the angle. If I'm them,
Yeah.
right? So I don't know. I'm not down on them whatsoever. Obviously, it's very hilarious to make fun of them and their winning record in the Eastern Conference Finals, but a lot of teams don't even have a winning a record of any kind
You
in
gotta
the
get
conference
there.
finals. Yeah, let alone winning
to
a
lose
game in the
like
conference
that.
final.
To be
Yeah,
fair,
like how many teams have even played 10 games in the conference finals in the last 5 seasons? I mean, I'm sure there are, I
not
mean, Florida,
many.
obviously.
Just the
Yeah,
Florida
but not
Panthers
many.
and the Tampa Bay Lightning. It feels like a lot of
I guess
those games.
Edmonton.
The
But
Islanders
either
have had a
way,
couple
not
of
many.
runs.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
Carolina
not
as
many.
well.
Not many. So yeah, for me, I have no concerns about the Carolina Hurricanes. I think the mistake would be thinking that this is some kind of failure.
I don't think
Um,
that they're gonna feel that way.
and
Honestly,
I don't think they're gonna feel that way at all. I don't think so.
they're on the right
Um,
path. Just a little more adjustment, and they can. Honestly, they bring in Mitch Marner, change the play style a tiny bit. They also add Marco Rossi, like you're talking about. Oh boy.
well,
Oh
they
boy.
could even go.
Oh
They could
boy.
even save some money probably and go for a Nikolai Ehlers for like 8 million.
Well, yeah.
If you can get Rossi and Ehlers for 15 million combined, and you have $13 million left over in cap space, I think you're laughing. I think you're laughing, and you can make another move there. You have the pieces to do something. Like, they're in a really good spot. And so I think that this is a really good opportunity for them to like refocus, reload, and make some big moves this offseason. Because, like, again, if Marco Rossi is seriously on the block, I mean, they say that Logan Stankoven was born to be a Carolina Hurricane,
Because
and
he
if that's
was.
true,
I thought he was
and
gonna
if
go to
that is
Carolina
so did
that
I.
year. Like
Yeah.
I thought for sure he was gonna be a
Yep.
Carolina Hurricane.
So did I. And I mean, they've got Scott Morrow in the lineup anyway, so but at the end of the day, yeah, like if Stankoven's a guy where they're like, yeah, he was born to be a Carolina Hurricane, I could see Marco Rossi being a guy who is born to be a Carolina Hurricane. Like, it just is that way. And the fans love that team. You can clearly tell.
I love that team. Awesome.
Yeah, like the Carolina Hurricanes are just such a really amazing example of an organization in this game. Like, it's the vibe they have, the environment, the fans, the culture of the team. Like, it's just
And they're a small market. Like
yeah, in a
they are
small
a
market.
way smaller market
Yeah.
than Arizona. Okay, this is why I don't want to hear any BS about hockey can't work in Arizona.
Yeah,
the
no.
people who ran hockey in Arizona were complete morons.
Arizona is also great. Like, it's a really awesome place, and yeah, so it can work. It can work. Like, man, I will never forget going to Gila River Arena, or whatever it's called now. This was like 2016, maybe
Yeah,
2017.
River Arena.
I just wasn't sure if they've changed the name or something. But anyway, like,
It would have been at the time.
the the Arizona Coyotes and like the whole setup there was like such a great example of why we talked about public transit before, but like why I hate the way American cities are often built, because the sports complex that was there was like in the outskirts of Phoenix, and like you had to take traffic laden highways just to get there. Like, it was like a half-hour drive for my family in Scottsdale to get to the rink in Glendale. And most hockey fans in Arizona, I believe, live in like Phoenix and Scottsdale, because a lot of Canadians move to Scottsdale to retire or whatever. And it's kind of spread in that area.
Mm-hmm.
So like making them drive like that long in traffic to go to a hockey game was a bad idea. And so if they can somehow find a way to make an arena in a more accessible area or in the city, and
with a good owner who doesn't just care about
right.
having casino rights, okay?
Yeah. And I think that it could work there. I just refuse to believe that it won't, right? Like, there's a market there, and also the Arizona Coyotes branding just can't die. It just can't die. Yeah, all the youth tournaments were in Scottsdale. Yeah, and I think that's where Matthew Nyes is from. I don't know if is Austin Matthews from Scottsdale, or is he from like Phoenix or
Well,
Mesa?
he's really from San Ramon, California, and then moved out.
Right. Yeah, moved to right. Okay. But anyway, yeah. So I just yeah. So for Carolina, like the fact that they've built what they've built, they're running the team the way they're running it. They are doing what they're doing. It is pretty amazing. And the fact that they're in this situation, like a conference final team, even though they lost, and I would say the best player walking to free agency is a 40-year-old Brent Burns, maybe.
Let's
Um,
look.
like Roslovic, fast, Robinson. Like I
Eh,
don't I
okay.
right, but like if the best player you're losing to free agency is Brent Burns at 40 years old, and you have almost $30 million in cap space, the cap is also going to go up. And you've also locked up pretty much every major RFA. Like Stankoven will need a deal, Blake will need a deal, but the rest of them are all taken care of.
Mhm.
Then you're in a great spot. Nikishin and Morrow, but like I don't think those guys are going to really demand a ton of money. Um, you can make it work, and I think that there are players that you can bring in that will make this team better.
You know
Like
what's crazy too? They basically already have a full complement of a roster all ready to go with the cap space that they have allotted currently.
right,
So
yep,
you're essentially just adding players with that $28 million to a team that already has a full complement of 16 forwards, or no, not 16, whatever it is.
yeah,
It's 12 forwards, right? Yeah. 12
yeah,
forwards and 6 defensemen and 2 goalies. So like they've already got that. It's just
yeah. They're
about
not far
adding.
off. Yeah,
And they have $28 million to spend on some insanely talented players.
yeah. So yeah, and it's like again, it's I've said this a few times before, but like one of the things that kind of blows people away in the league is like somehow Carolina has not been emulated by other teams. Like somehow
Well,
the
they
way that they
don't win, Will.
right, but like the way that they draft and accumulate money and play probabilities really well, it just hasn't really been emulated. Everybody is constantly seemingly playing like whack-a-mole of like, well, we need to be like this, and oh no, we're going to be like this. Oh, that didn't work, so we got to do this, and we got to do this, and like, oh,
Our DNA
it's just
needs to
like
change
chaos.
because we have no idea what we're doing.
Yeah, yeah.
Thanks,
Well, I
Brad.
mean, there you go. Yeah,
Moron.
you got your Brad Treliving fill today, and
Moron.
someone brought it up in the comments. I don't know if we want to wait until question period, but yeah. Anyway, so for Carolina, I mean, at the end of the day, post-mortem, I think they'll be fine, and I trust the leadership there to make good decisions.
Hmm?
And I do not doubt that they will be back at this point. That's in some way. Like
They're
if they miss the
probably
playoffs
gonna.
next year, I'd be
Oh, they're
stunned.
not missing the
They're
playoffs in the
not missing the
Metro.
playoffs. Yeah, no,
Please,
that's true. They're in the Metro division. Yeah,
please.
yeah, they're
There
gonna make
are
the playoffs.
there are 3 teams in that division that were in the playoffs this year, and all 3 of them are going to be back in the
Yeah, like
playoffs.
looking at let's see who's in the Metro division here.
The ones that
Yeah,
matter that are going to be like in the hunt, really, 3 teams: Washington, Carolina, New Jersey. I
yeah.
hope New Jersey's healthy. Washington,
Maybe Columbus.
yeah, that's true.
Maybe
I
maybe Columbus.
but
But
I
even
feel
then,
confident about those 3 teams.
yeah, those three I would feel confident about.
And then
Columbus, I think, is pretty close, but
yeah,
not. But either way, like, yeah. I
do
mean,
you
I'd
think the
rather.
Rangers get back?
I don't think so.
We'll see
I
what they
don't.
do, but
Yeah, it depends
I
on what they
think
do.
I think not.
Like the Rangers have 8.4 million in cap space. They've got to sign Will Cooley. Matt Rempe
It's
needs a
okay. They'll
deal.
just trade Chris Kreider to the Leafs.
Keandre Miller needs a deal.
Please don't. Brad,
Yeah, Chris Kreider to the Leafs.
Brad,
There you go.
Brad, please don't do that. Please
There's
don't
your
do
culture
that.
shift.
Please
There's
don't
your
do
DNA.
that. Please,
There's
man.
your DNA
Your
shift.
family already ruined one of the national dishes of Italy, of my culture, of my heritage. Your family already gives my food a bad rep. Stop giving my hockey team a bad rep, please.
Yeah.
Please, Brad.
Well, yeah. So Carolina, I think they're doing just fine. They're going to be fine. And I mean, based on what's out there, they have an opportunity to get even better for very little. Yeah, we'll see what happens.
What's funny
but,
is, I bet you if I like actually met Brad for living, like I'd talk to him and I'd have a great time. Like, but
well, of course.
it doesn't mean that I'm going to like not think
Nobody,
he's.
nobody would ever say that a guy like Brad Treliving is like a bad guy.
No,
You know,
honestly, it seems like a fun
it
dude to
seems like
be
he's a fun
around.
guy. Yeah, he seems
Just
like a perfectly good dude.
I just think that when you're
You just
and
disagree with his tactics.
very much so. It's the same thing with Brian Burke, who was his mentor.
Yeah.
That's the thing
Oh
I
yeah.
will. It's never lost on me that Brian Burke taught that guy about hockey, and I love
Yep.
Brian Burke. I think he's a cool dude, but I fundamentally disagree with so much of what he thinks.
Well, I mean, I think this is going to be a very interesting summer for Toronto, but we'll get into it later. I think
I'm gonna
because it
cry
came up in the
myself to
chat.
sleep every single night.
Yep.
Please,
Okay. So
please send me
let's.
messages of wellness and positive vibes all my way, please. I'm gonna need it all summer long because I'm going to be a very sad boy.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's jump into questions. But before we do,
Do you want to do?
obviously,
We got to do the Memorial Cup. It's in the title.
oh, right. Yeah,
Sorry,
true. The
Will.
Memorial Cup, right? How could I forget? No, I've been watching the Memorial Cup. We are now into the playoff period on Friday, tomorrow night. You got London playing Moncton. Rimouski eliminated last night in a tough loss. That was the tough game for them to lose. But I mean, Moncton just they have some energy, they have some juice, and yeah, that was the team I thought would be favored anyway in that game, but it was close, and Rimouski put up a good fight. But we got a London Moncton rematch where in the first game of the tournament they played the London Knights outshot Moncton like 2-1, and it was not a very particularly close game. And I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to bet against the London Knights because they look like a heck of a hockey team in this tournament. They've looked really, really, really good. Like again, it's just they're a really good team. It's hard to put it any other way. They just go out there and they play really good hockey. And not that Moncton doesn't, but I don't think they have quite the sort of horses that London does. The size and the intensity, and I mean, Easton Cowan has been great in the games that I've seen in terms of just some of the passing plays he's putting together, some of the ideas that he's stitched together, just really amazing stuff. And really good tournament from him as well. So yeah, I mean, the Medicine Hat London game also, like that could I feel like that's going to be the final. I mean, it all comes down to one game, I guess. So like this is the Memorial Cup, right? London could have a stinker and Moncton wins, or Moncton just pops off like they did in after the first period. I think it was last night against Moncton or against Rimouski, and pops a bunch of goals and takes the lead. But yeah, like the London Knights, they've just got so many guys on this team who have played really, really well. Austin Elliott's been great in net, but so is Mathis Rousseau. So it's going to be a good one. You won't want to miss that one on Friday night. And there's no NHL games, I don't think, because tonight is Edmonton, Dallas. So tomorrow night there won't be any NHL games. Like Casper Haltonen's been great for London as well. Who else has been on out there? Like, but yeah, Easton Cowan's a guy
How's
who
Denver Barkey been?
pretty good as well. Like he's been good. Yeah. So it's going to be a good one. It's been a really good tournament though. I think almost every game I've seen in this tournament, I missed the first one, but almost every single one otherwise has been just really, really fun hockey, really good junior hockey. It's always worth the watch. So if you haven't yet, you definitely got to tune in tomorrow night because London Rimouski is going to be a good one. I mean, I still think Medicine Hat is a perfectly acceptable team to get all the way to the final. I think they're a really, really well-oiled offensive skill machine with some, again, Harrison Menigan had a great game against London as well, and sort of knocked them out or put them into the semifinals, I should say. And so, yeah, if it's London Medicine Hat, that's going to be a heck of a final. It's going to be a lot of fun, and it's been great. I've really, really enjoyed the tournament so far, and I don't think there's been any draft eligibles in this tournament that I've sort of gone, yes, this is definitely a guy who's jumped up the board for me at all. Like Caleb Desnoyers has been exactly what I've seen of him all year. Guys on London, like the draft eligibles, like Matt Reed, and yeah, but I mean, there aren't that many, honestly, of draft eligibles that are even playing in the Memorial Cup this year that I would really sort of pick on. Mathis Langevin in net has been okay, but they just got eliminated, and he's a draft eligible. But yeah, at the end of the day, really fun tournament. There's been some really, really good performances, especially coming out
Who's
of London and
winning?
Medicine Hat. I think I think London pulls it off. I think London wins tomorrow. I think London wins tomorrow
Cool.
and wins a hell of a final
Oh,
against
okay.
against Medicine Hat. Medicine Hat's great, but London Medicine Hat was a really good game. I felt that could have gone either way, and yeah, we'll see.
Hey, Will,
Yo,
did you see that your boys signed entry level contracts with the Utah Mammoth?
I did see that yesterday. Yes, I think that was a question in the chat as well from earlier in the show, but yeah, those two guys are coming over. I was told that Simashev was coming over. I thought I saw reports about it, and I was told he was coming over. Boot, I wasn't sure about, but they always seem to be a package deal, a very, 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 very large pair of players. But I mean, I'm so
See,
excited.
we do love big boys on this channel. It's just they have to be good.
Simashev in the NHL is going to be such a pain. Like
He's gonna get
he,
so much glaze from hockey analysts.
yes,
He's going to be
Nick Kyprios is going to be like, this is who the Leafs should have drafted, even though the Leafs did not have a draft pick that could have, it's like
yeah.
they needed guys like Simashev, need more Simashev, less Nick Robertson. Like that's what the angle's going to be for sure. I'll never forget that year watching Matvey Michkov on Sochi play Dmitry Simashev on Yaroslavl in the KHL.
Yeah.
And Simashev just destroyed him. Like plunged him into the depths of the netherworld with a hit along the boards. And I just sort of, like the way that Simashev plays defense, I think is exactly how I think you play good defense at the highest levels of hockey, where the skating ability, the reach, finishing your checks, but in a good way, is such a difference maker. And I think that if Simashev can sort of build on his skill level and just sort of keep his game simple but effective, I think he's going to have no problem in the NHL playing the way that he plays. Daniil Butt,
Dude,
I didn't see much of Butt.
Quickly. He's
Yes.
gonna play like 28 minutes a night. Like that's not actually, but there are gonna be nights where you see Simashev with like 28 and a half minutes played, because how can you resist throwing at a guy that big over the boards who is that good?
Yeah. I mean, their defense group is Sergachev, Dursey, Cole, Kesselring, Mata, Bortuzzo. I'm pretty sure you're throwing Simashev in there on the second pair behind Sergachev instead of Ian Cole. Maybe I'm wrong,
Simashev
but
might be their best defenseman already.
it's hard to say, but it's possible.
But
they've got Sergachev, Dursey,
yeah, better than
Ian
both
Cole,
of them defensively.
Ian Cole,
Yeah.
Michael Kesselring,
Yeah.
and then Oli Mata, Robert Bortuzzo.
Yeah, he is. He's definitely the best defensive player on that.
Right. So they're adding a real good player. They're adding a real good one. And Boot is also really good. Like Boot is a good player too. Like I don't think he's a big line driver, a big play driver, but he's going to project to the NHL just fine. And he's good big. Like he's got an insane shot. He's got good skill for a big guy as well. Like he's not the quickest high pace guy, but he's not slow really. And he's got really great, like he's just a boulder. Like he's hard to move. He's hard to do whatever. And so, yeah, I had both of these guys really high on my list that year. I think I had Simashev at like 7 and I had Boot at like 11 or something like that.
Was it? I thought you might have had Simashev higher.
Let me look. When was that? Was that 2022? No, 2023.
2023.
Oh my God. That's how recent it was. My goodness.
Yeah, it was very recent. I think you would have been only, like, I think your top 4 was Bedard, Fantilli, Carlson.
Bedard, Fantilli, Michkov, Carlson, Oliver Moore, Will Smith, and then Dmitry Simashev.
Okay.
I still feel decent about that. Like Moore and Smith, maybe I don't know. I don't think I'd put Simashev ahead of those two guys, but he's not bad. He is certainly part of that group. Like that
Gavin
tier.
Brindley at 8, yes.
No, Zach Benson.
Zach Benson, okay.
Yeah. But I had Boot at 10. So I had Boot at 10. Which, yeah, feel pretty good about. But anyway, fun times.
All right.
Good stuff for the Utah Mammoth. Also, I will also say, I might have said this on the show, but I was at first not a fan of the Utah Mammoth vibe, the look. I thought whatever. Now that I've seen it on a jersey with those two guys doing
It's
their
cool.
headshots, it's sick. They look cool. I was wrong.
Me too.
They look pretty cool. I wanna, if Simishev turns out to be anything, I'm buying a Utah Mammoth jersey in quadruple XL with Simishev on the back, because I just want to be like him. Just like me with my Vilmar Alriksson Brampton Steelheads jersey that I have. It's a Vilmar Alriksson sized jersey, so it's more of a moo on me. So one day, but I don't have enough. I don't have the money for that right now. So
Yeah.
yeah, in the future maybe.
I guess we've already kind of started chat questions with that, so we can continue.
I suppose. Yeah, let's do it. But before we do that, I do want to mention some housekeeping stuff. We got Scouching reports coming out. We got Jake O'Brien coming tomorrow. We had a couple earlier this week. We had Victor Eklund and Justin Carbonneau, I believe. I've filmed a few more. I've done Ben Kindle. Who else have I done recently? Yeah, we got Ben Kindle done. Kayshawn Aitchison I did yesterday. Caleb Desnoyers I did yesterday. And I'm going to do at least one more tomorrow, and there's lots coming. There's tons and tons coming until the end of June, so you can stay tuned for that. Also, if you are a subscriber to Scouching.ca, you can now sign up for the community mock draft, which will be occurring on June the 23rd, the Monday of draft week. We're going to do the mock draft then, so if you want to sign up, you can subscribe to Scouching.ca. The link is in our Discord server, and I will be putting a link in a page in your accounts if you sign up, so you can get a link and sign up for the mock draft. And yeah, so it's first come first served. We've got 13 people registered. I'll be the 14th. One of them, amazingly, is professional wrestler Joe Hendry. So we got Joe Hendry joining us for the mock draft.
TNA wrestler.
Oh, sorry.
That is the company I work for, actually. Funny enough.
Oh, okay. Got it.
He was our world champion, and then we let a WWE NXT superstar take it off us. So Joe Hendry is no longer TNA world champion.
Now he's a participant in our mock draft. So yeah, that'll be fun, and it will be June 23rd. That evening at 8 p.m. Eastern, even though the way that I have it outlined in the sign up form is you must sign a checkbox that explicitly states that you will be in attendance at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at the latest on June 23rd, 2025, under threat of legal action and great public shame. So just be aware that if you sign this form, you're doing it because there is nothing worse than being live on camera and scrambling to track down people I have never met before or spoken to before to show up for a live stream that they signed up to join and never showed up, and trying to scramble and find replacements last minute. We've had moments where nobody has shown up, and then they show up late after I've found a replacement for them. That puts me in a very awkward position. So please don't do that if you're going to sign up for this, but it will be eventually, there will be a sign up for any public people who want to join, but it will happen probably in the next couple of weeks once people and subscribers have a chance to sign up for this. So there's that coming, and it's always a good time. It's always worth watching, and definitely pop in. It's going to be a lot of fun.
And lastly, I'll just say this because you're not going to see me as much on the live streams, unfortunately. I got promoted at work, so I am now a full-time employee with a salary. And as much as I want to be here as often as I can,
he needs to make a living.
Yeah, so I'm gonna be here for the draft, guys, but not. I mean, the NHL draft. I will not be able to be here for the mock draft, unfortunately, and a lot of other streams in June. But I'm going to do my best to be as much of an active member of this channel as I can be. And whenever I do have time, I will be running the streams when I can. So
yeah, so you're going to get more of me.
Yeah. Less
more
of me. No, you're going to get more of undisturbed Will, because generally my role is to like poke at Will
make
a bit.
me feel disturbed.
Well, it's to bring your energy up a bit, you know? I feel like the show's gotten better ever since I came in because I'm me and I just elevate everything, don't I? And if anybody disagrees with me, you're getting banned in the chat, okay? You are getting banned. If I see any slander, you're getting banned.
What was the thing the president of the United States yesterday said to someone who asked a question? It's a sentence that I want to file away. What did he say? Someone asked him about the whole taco thing, and he said something hilarious. Don't ask. It was like something like, don't ask that question. I don't know. Oh, don't ever say what you said. There. Yeah, he said don't ever say what you said. So yeah, if you sass AJ in the chat, the retort will always be don't ever say what you just said. Banned forever. Oh god. No, we're just kidding.
Yeah.
We like to have free speech in here to a certain extent.
I
No
just
freedom
like
of
to
consequences,
I just
but
like
freedom
to
of speech.
threaten the ban hammer because
Yeah.
I think it's funny that I have that power and will never use it. Unless you
I don't think I've
really
ever
say
banned
so.
anyone.
No.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever banned anyone, but I've definitely muted people. But I think that's mostly because YouTube spam detection wasn't
Mhm.
as good 3 years ago. Now it's better, but we don't get much spam yet. Yet. Fingers crossed. Okay. Let's get into the questions.
Yep.
Let's get to the back half of the show. I think that's all the housekeeping that I
Yeah.
had.
Go watch the Scouching reports, like every video, and like this one
Yeah,
as
do
well.
that.
And subscribe.
Yeah. Yep. I swear they're not getting placed in the algorithm right in YouTube. I swear to God. I don't know what else I'm supposed to do, but it's crazy. Anyway, are we gonna get a Daniil Prokhorov video breakdown? No. I haven't had the time to get enough of a sample on him, but I mean I've seen him a lot. I've seen Prokhorov like, I don't know, 5 or 6 times this year. I've tracked another 3, 4 games, I think 4 games. I mean, I can give you a breakdown of Prokhorov right now. Like, I think Prokhorov is a guy who is a bit of a wild card. He is very big. He's got an unbelievable shot. He uses it a lot. And I would say that the big issue with him is that his sort of physical tools aren't really used to his advantage nearly enough. He's like a step behind play. He's just not very quick. And so it kind of allows guys to get right through him, get right around him. But in terms of things like, carrying the puck, he puts a shoulder down. He can drive up the ice really well. He's a decent passer in transition as well, but he generates a ton of shots from in the slot a lot and in the sort of home plate area a lot. Major driver of his team's offense. Like, he's in a tier for me right now where I think he's like as a late first, I could see it. Yeah, he's at 35 on my list right now, where it's like if you want a wild card pick and it's 25, 26th overall, like I could see it being possible. Like I have guys like Cam Schmidt and Cole Reschny in a tier with him, but I like those guys better. But I think that you could legitimately look at them and poke holes in their projectability to the NHL. But Prokhorov has this like power and size and reach to his game with a really great shot that I think you can really work with. And maybe there's a case that his development could go really well. So for me, he's just outside the first round, but a good player. I mean, taking him at like 12 or 15 or 20, like some people might consider him to be taken. I wouldn't maybe do that. It's a big risk, but he's fine. He's an interesting player, and he's got some really individually some high-end tools. Lyndon Lakovich breakdown when? Probably not for a little bit. I'd have
you can
to
watch his game tape.
That's true. We have a game tape of him. But I should do one, and I have some other guys that I want to get to first, but yeah, I guess maybe now I'm looking at my schedule. He might need to be relatively quick. So I want to do one.
You
So
have to do one,
I'll
Will.
try to
Come on.
yeah, I'll slam one in the schedule because I'm looking at some of the other guys I have scheduled and it doesn't really fill me with a whole lot of joy. No offense, but yeah, but anyway, yeah, we'll do one at some point. I mean, in the next month. So
There's plenty of
look
time.
to that.
You're putting
Yeah.
out what, like 3 a week?
3 a week, yeah.
Yeah, there's plenty of time.
Yeah. There's a few I definitely need to do before the end of the month, but we'll get there.
Cool.
Will there be more hype for McKenna or DuPont? I mean, define more. Define more.
Who are you more hyped for then? I've got a biased answer because I've met one of them.
It's true. I mean, it's tough. I mean, I think DuPont, mostly just because, like, I mean, Gavin McKenna is unbelievably exciting and tremendously fun. But something about DuPont, like in a few years with development, like he could be a complete menace, like an insane hockey player. Not saying McKenna isn't, but I mean, for me, I love what Gavin McKenna brings to the game, but I think there are some gaps that might it'll depend on how next season goes. But he's obviously incredibly skilled and incredibly creative, and one of the best passers for his age that I think has ever sort of come across the Canadian world at this age. But there's more to the game than that, and I think Dupont also has some holes, but something about how Dupont plays defense and can at his age, like, play intelligent hockey and work off of pressure and dangle the puck and sort of find space and all that stuff and make plays.
He's 16 now,
It's
if I'm
Yeah,
not
he's
mistaken.
16 now. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
There's a whole game
yeah,
tape of Landon. It's the first one we did this year. And holy crap, that
yeah.
dude is more mature than I am at 24 years old than he was 15.
And
When we filmed
Dupont
it.
is almost ish 2 years younger than McKenna. So that's another thing to keep in mind, right? Like, there's a long way to go for Dupont to become, on NHL radar seriously in terms of as a draft pick. So I don't know. I mean, I think both of them are remarkably talented players. They're both good at different things. And I think the flash is better with a guy like McKenna, but in terms of actually playing and like 200-foot play and elevating everybody else, McKenna's very good at that. But I think Dupont, for the role that he plays, I'm more curious about that, I think, than McKenna. Um, Thoughts on Henry Bruchtevitz? Well, yeah. The thing about Bruchtevitz is, like, he's in the offensive zone. He's got some really good talent. Like, I think Bruchtevitz, he's in my early third round because I think that the things that defensemen need to be really good at in the NHL, he still kind of lacks quite a bit of. But that's not to say he can't get there. Like, he's a more creative and skilled version of his brother to me, and they have very similar issues. But Bruchtevitz is not a bad player at all. It's just a matter of, like, it seems at this point he's going to go somewhere between like 25 and 40, and I wouldn't do that. I think there are a lot of other players that I'd be much more interested in, or I would trade that pick for Marco Rossi. um, like, I just think, like, if Henry Bruchtevitz is a guy that goes in that range, I might go look elsewhere. But in terms of like creative offensive defenseman, when he's really cooking, he's good. Like, that's kind of the thing that makes him interesting. But I have him. I'm looking at some defensemen I have ranked ahead of him, and they all kind of interest me quite a bit more. Like, maybe I could see mid-second round into the third round, into the late second round. I would say I could see that as well. But yeah, not as high on Bruchtevitz as others, but he is on my list, and he's been there how long? All season? Yeah, all year. So decent player, but I'm a little lower on him than a lot of people. Apparently Ekholm and Skinner are finally playing. I heard that as well. That would be fun. Ekholm Skinner back in Edmonton's lineup for the Stanley Cup Final. There you go. I'm disappointed that
hold
the
on
most
for a quick sec. This
yeah,
is Jeff Skinner's first playoff run ever, by the way.
yeah. And what is he, like 48 years old? No,
Poor
he's like
dude was on Carolina when they were horrible,
yep.
and then
Left when they got good.
yeah, and then he went to Buffalo.
Yep.
Poor guy.
Is that really all he did in his career?
Yes.
I thought he stopped off somewhere in between.
No.
Jeez. Okay.
He's
Wow.
been in the league for like 13 years, and this is his first time in the playoffs,
Jeez.
and he played like 2 games. Poor guy.
All right then.
But he could get a cup
Man.
out of it, so hey, you take what you can get.
Yep. Wow. Well, good for him.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I feel too.
Good for him. I'm disappointed that the most vanilla, predictable, and boring brackets that had the same teams in the finals will be vindicated. Yeah, that's true. I mean, I think both of these teams kind of just like were better than I thought they would be. I mean, they just grew into a bit of a monster relative to the other teams they were playing, and they're the best in the league now for a reason.
Hey,
They
I had this final last year. I legitimately did.
You did.
I did have this final last year.
I said Edmonton was going to win the cup this year, but I mean, I
made
did
fun
say
of
they
you.
needed a goalie, but they have a goalie apparently
Hey,
now.
but
all
you
of a
also
sudden.
walked it back as soon as Matthias Ekholm was out.
Yes, I did. and as did everybody else. But if it makes me look smart, then it's right. And
Fair enough. I can't.
the original
I
call,
can't argue with that.
makes me look smart. Therefore, I'm correct.
I can't argue with that at all.
Yeah. Jack Nesbitt being projected all over the first round. Your thoughts on him now versus his future projection? Are his feet going to hold him back? I'll tell you this much: I don't have Nesbitt on my list. I mean, I get it. Like, people have said, oh, he's one of the most improved skaters year over year. It's still not very good. Like, I watched him at the U18s, and he could have been anybody. And I just don't buy it on Nesbitt. I mean, he's big, and he gets his butt in the way of other players, and he can protect the puck okay. But other than that, I just have not seen Nesbitt be a guy where I'm like, yes, that's a first round pick I want to make. Like, I look at a guy like Eric Nilsson, who might go after him and go, I think there's a higher end player there. Braden Coots, I think there could be a higher end player there. If Shane Vinsagi is around, like, I think that's kind of what you want Nesbitt to be, but he's further along and like much more projectable. Like, if I want a guy like Nesbitt, I'm looking at, like, in the third or fourth round, someone like a Gustav Hillstrom, where it's like he's also pretty big, but has really good skill. He's really smart, plays really good hockey at both ends, and has a lot of pace in his game, and did not look out of place in the SHL. If you plopped Jack Nesbitt in the SHL, I don't know what that would look like, but I don't know if it would be very pretty. Like, for me, I think Nesbitt is just not a guy that I'm looking at in the first round, but he'll go there, and that's okay. I would not be for it, but yeah, I just think that the foot speed, the only way is if all of my development coaches on staff are like, no, we've identified why he came a long way with his skating this year from where it was, and in 5 years we are 100% confident that he will catch up and surpass the guys that are going ahead of him. Then I'd be like, and every scout at the table but me was like, yes, we believe the same thing. I'd be like, okay, right, like, sure. But I don't know. I looked at the U18s as an opportunity, like, okay, he's in a different environment, he's going to be given a bit of a role, and I felt like he struggled there even then, right? So it's like, you want to make the argument about future development, but by all means go nuts. But it's that whole thing of like, you're hoping he catches up to where other players are now, and then surpasses what those players will be in 3 years, 5 years, like, which to me seems like an enormous risk to take in the first round. What are your thoughts on Mason West, and where do you have him ranked since he just committed to hockey? So yeah, that's some decent news in NHL draft universe. Mason West has decided to play hockey instead of football, which is not the decision I thought he would make based on what I was sort of messing around here and around. But yeah, so I had Mason West on my watch list all season, or not all season, but after he played in the USHL, because I don't really think there's much in Minnesota high school hockey that I can really carry forward reliably. But Mason West, since he went to the USHL, I mean, I think he's a guy who has a lot of tools, and it's just going to be a matter of like the willingness to use them. He's got some skill. He's a pretty fluid skater for his size. There's a lot of, I think, room to physically develop him. Like, he looks pretty thin. But again, it's the same thing as like Bruchtevitz, right? Like, if he goes 25th overall, like, I think that that's a big risk that you're taking. Unless like I interview him and I'm like, I hear him say something along the lines of like, look, I know in the USHL, like, I might not have looked like I was fully engaged all the time or just whatever, but it's like, I wasn't sure if I wanted to play hockey or football because I didn't want to like hurt myself if I wanted to play football, and I didn't want to, blah, 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 blah. Like, maybe there's some sort of explanation that explains why Mason was like, I think, kind of underperforming what he kind of flashed. And if that's the case, then I guess there's a good case for him to maybe be a second round pick. So I would consider it around then, like in the mid second, maybe. But for me, yeah, I just think there's a little bit of a further ways to go for him. And I don't really see him being one of these guys that like regresses into a third line, sort of checking line guy in the future. Like, I think he's more of this like lanky, high end offensive upside guy. But I'm thinking back to like a Kieran Walton last year relative to a Mason West. And I go with Walton every day, honestly. And he's had a really good year this year. And I think Walton was more skilled and a bit quicker, but a better shooter and drove to scoring areas more. And so West is a good player. You know, whoever drafts him is going to get an interesting one. But you know, he's more of like a third guy I pick, maybe depending on who the second guy is, maybe second, but probably considering who I have really high on my list, probably like a third guy off my board. Okay, here we go. As far as I can tell, all the Toronto fans are still completely blind to their own team's faults. They're reacting emotionally and talking about blowing it up.
Yeah.
What I see with
Where have you
Toronto,
been?
what I see with Toronto is a first line center that is the core of the team who is always hurt. He's made of glass and plays worse in the playoffs than the regular season. Tavares isn't the answer because he's too slow to push pace. He's more of a play connector and finisher than a game breaker, and they just don't have it. I mean,
uh,
I think that's partially true. Like that's pretty true. Like I don't think many Leaf fans are like out there talking about blowing it up. I don't think they're talking about that.
When they say blow it up, it's like the core four. Like that's kind of always been where
Right.
that idea comes from. Blowing up the core four, which it's going to happen almost certainly, especially with all the comments that have come seen. Right? Like I don't know, man. I get where that perspective's coming from. Like I can level with that. That yeah, Austin Matthews is hurt quite a bit. And he does generally perform worse in the playoffs. And I do think that does have to do with his injury. But I feel like the bottom end of the roster is always a much bigger problem than the top guys. Like, why is David Kampf making $2.4 million and they played him, what, 2 games in the playoffs, maybe? But like Brad Treliving signed that guy immediately to a contract. Like, it was one of the first things he did. For what reason? Like, he doesn't score. Don't pay players more than $1.25 million or like $1.5 million if they don't score and they're a forward. Like that's just ridiculous to me.
Yeah. I mean, to the first part of that question, like I've lived in Toronto literally my whole life. I've been a hockey fan since I was 6. And I've seen what the iterations of the Toronto Maple Leafs have been over and over and over and over again. And Toronto Maple Leafs fans being completely blind to the faults of the team is not unusual. Like think of how many young players the Toronto Maple Leafs have traded away when they're like 23, 24, and then they go off and have success somewhere else.
Dude, Alex Steen when I was a kid.
Yeah, Alex Steen is one. Like Matt Stajan, they traded in the Dion Phaneuf trade.
Matt Stajan.
You know, like
also this happened when I was a kid.
But this is what happens, right? Like back in the day, like even before I was born, like if you go and look at those Toronto Maple Leafs teams in like the 80s when like Wendell Clark was in his early 20s, they had a lot of young players who were really pretty good looking players, but they just couldn't and in 1986, actually, I can't believe more Leaf fans don't talk about this much, but that was a team that like barely got into the playoffs and upset the best team in the league that year, the Chicago Blackhawks, in the first round, and then played the St. Louis Blues and went to 7 games and almost got themselves to the conference final. And I think they won 26 games that year. Like, but that was a team that was filled with young players, and between then and like the next couple of years, like things fell off the wagon, and then they reloaded with Cliff Fletcher and got like the Matt Sundin trade done and brought like Doug Gilmour in and all that stuff. And then they went to a conference final. And then from then onwards, it was like, okay, now we need to trade like Larry Murphy, right? Like they had Larry Murphy on the team and they traded him to Detroit and he went on to win Stanley Cups. Like, and Larry Murphy, I believe, was like 28 when they traded him or something. Like he was in Toronto until, oh no, I'm not. Yeah, he was in Toronto for 2 years. And then they got rid of him in 1997 when he was 26. So nice. Was the 26? No. Oh, he was, what am I talking about? He was 35. Anyway, that's a bad example. The point is, this is what happens with Toronto is like they have this like these eras of like young energy, and then they get kind of antsy. And I know Toronto, obviously, with the results they've had in the playoffs recently, it's not getting antsy when you lose in the first round like 9 times. But
Hey now,
but
they've been to the second round in 2 of the last 3 years, Will, okay? Calm
yes,
down, calm down.
but it is the it is the the Toronto Maple Leafs do this though, where it's like they start spending futures on veterans
Who
who
suck.
have a track record and are not very effective. Like they brought in Ron Francis, they brought back Doug Gilmour, they brought in Phil Housley, they brought in Brian Leach, they brought in Eric Lindros. Like they went out and this is what they do when they think they need that to get over the top. And this is, I think, this is what they're doing again, right? How many times have they made trades at the deadline for guys that don't stick around, and they trade a lot of futures, they trade a lot of young players, they trade a lot of really good stuff, and they end up in the same spot. And now you have Brad Treliving coming out and being like, the DNA of the team needs to change. And it's like, okay, you can say that, and you may very well be right. You may very well be correct in the sense that there's something with that group of guys that
I
is
mean,
not
it's
right.
not a wrong statement, but
It is not wrong.
I think it is misguided.
But I'd say more importantly, what you do after you make that statement is unbelievably important.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to say something like that about a team with guys like this who have made the playoffs this consistently, yeah, they haven't won in the playoffs. You better have a better idea. You better have a better solution, because losing Mitch Marner is not going to be an easy problem to fix. If you don't keep John Tavares, I don't know why you wouldn't at least give him a short-term deal, because he loves being in Toronto. Like, if you don't do that, that's another problem you got to fix, and that's a tough one. And you're probably not going to do it through free agency this year. Like, who holds a candle to those guys? Like, especially Marner. Nobody.
Well,
I
Nick
don't think.
Ehlers is great. He's not Mitch
And
Marner, but
but I
he's
don't think that's part of their solution. Like, if they
it should
wanted Nick
be.
Ehlers, they should probably just keep Mitch Marner.
Well,
You
but they
know,
might not be able to with their cap situation.
sure.
Like I think Nick Ehlers is a sensible option because, and I understand where this comment's coming from about John Tavares
Yeah, of
and
course.
Austin Matthews, but I also think that the pace of the team needs to come up. They can't sit back and just sit in their own end the way they did in the playoffs and expect to win. Like, you have to actually play with the puck a lot more and be on the attack and be on the offensive. The Toronto Maple Leafs played like the Roman legions defending against the Germanic tribes coming across the Rhine. All right, and now everybody wants more money. You know, like, I don't know. Maybe that last part doesn't matter, like the whole more money thing, but like, they're just sitting back and defending. Like, be a bit more aggressive. Go out there, try and win. Like, I've always felt that the Leafs have played a way where they're trying not to lose instead of trying to win, which is a problem. If you fear losing so much that you're playing in a way that it is, don't lose, don't lose, don't lose. You're going to lose. You're going to lose. And they need guys who are going to be faster, who are going to push the pace. They need to suffocate the other teams the way Florida does, because that causes mistakes and you can pounce on that. And you can gain so much confidence just like, oh, we put the puck in the other team's zone and we're chasing after it and they can't get out. Like, you know how demoralizing that is in any sense when you just feel like you can't do anything? I get so frustrated when I play chess games and I know I'm losing. Like, I curse and I say words that I should not say because I get so angry that I put myself in a predicament where I'm just defending constantly. And it's horrible. It's horrible to do that when you have no initiative. You have nothing in the position. You're just sitting there and you are getting slowly squeezed to death. It is brutal. And that is what happens to the Leafs. And then once the squeeze really takes effect, it's like, it really is watching like somebody die on a hockey, like on the sheet of ice, because they just completely collapse once that happens, and it's brutal. So go out there, push pace, up the tempo, get guys like Nick Ehlers, play Nick Robertson, find some more puck moving defensemen where you're not constantly hemmed in your own end and have to bail yourself out all the time. Like Chris Tanev took 8 hits a game on average in this playoffs, like something insane like that. I'm not sure if it's if it is exactly 8, but it's something wild. It is something completely stupid and wild. No player should take even 5 hits a game like that in their own end. But Chris Tanev endured so much pain and punishment to have a hope of getting the puck out of the offensive zone. And usually he'd take a hit and, the puck's back on Florida's stick after a little bit of, like, whatever happens in the neutral zone, they get it back, right? Like, play with the puck, find guys who are fast, who can move the puck, and play in the opposing team zone. And you need that with at least 3 of your lines, for God's sakes. Like, you can't do this. You cannot do what they're doing. They have great goaltending now, though. They do. They have really good goaltending. So just inject some pace and speed into this, and the group that they had around them, like in terms of the star power, should be enough to at least get them to conference finals and even Stanley Cup finals. Possibly win. I don't know what we'll see now, but yeah, go ahead. I've talked for way too long.
It's obviously it's cope, right? It's cope for Toronto. But look at what Florida has done since Toronto got eliminated. Toronto they were a bounce away in overtime from being up 3-0 against the Florida Panthers.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't happen by accident. That goal from Brad Marchand was literally it bounced up in the air, like, and God themselves came down from the heavens and went, I'm gonna grab this and just lightly tap it into the net. It's just gonna, and then that was it. The rest of the season is dead for the Toronto Maple Leafs, right? Like, so, like, obviously there is, the performances they put on when it was really tough, when it was back against the wall kind of thing. Those kinds of performances, like, you cannot have, and those happen somehow. And I think that for Brad Treliving to come out and go, something needs to change with this team, you can say that. If you believe that I think there's lots of evidence for that. But you better have a good plan, right? It's like there are people in hockey who say it all the time, right? Like, if you're going to fire your coach, or you're going to fire your general manager, you're going to do this or you're going to do that, and do what the fan. What are you going to do with the replacement? What's the plan? What are you going to do down the road? What do you want improved? What do you want changed? And that is going to be very important, because if the answer is like Chris Kreider or signing Brock Nelson in free agency, or whatever, or whatever it might be, right? I don't know.
Bro, Chris Kreider and Jamie Benn, I think I'll actually shoot myself.
Like Jamie Benn coming to Toronto, like, if that's what the solution is, then you're right back where Toronto was in 2010, 2011, 2012.
I won't be getting hyped for Landon Dupont because they traded that pick. Oops.
Yeah, they traded, and they have no picks. So it's like, you better know what you're doing here, because you are making some major shifts, and you're making major shifts with a team that has made the playoffs many years in a row. And yes, they've been disappointing, and there might be something wrong, but just, you better get it right, because God, if the Toronto Maple Leafs are a team that ends up kind of being on the fringes of the playoffs, or further down the standings, then you'll see the emotional Toronto Maple Leafs fans come out even more.
And I'll be with them. I'll be with them, but screaming completely different things.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's see here. Let's keep going. Some general manager is going to have a generational summer, and some GM is going to pay 3 firsts for Owen Power. Well, there was also that report. I don't know if you saw that, AJ, but reportedly up to a quarter of the Buffalo Sabres roster is demanding things change there, or they want out. Like, it's apparently like a whole bunch of them are over it. And so there's some stuff coming out in Buffalo where it's like, yeah, they're kind of tired.
Wait, Owen Power for 3 firsts?
No, not that specifically. Someone is saying that, like, the question is, like, someone might do something like that if Owen Power is available.
Idiot. Right? What?
I don't know.
I'm just saying, maybe a first that, like,
the person's not saying that was never reported, right? Like, it's just a joke, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think it's a joke.
Then it's a funny joke, and I love it. Thank you. Please subscribe.
This free agent,
like the video.
Yeah, exactly. yeah, this offseason is indeed going to have some bad contracts. I can't wait. It's going to be fun. Who do you think goes at pick 224? Great question. That is a great question.
Some guy
I'm
who's related to the team
yeah.
picking, or
Uh
or as like friends with their dad in some way. Like
yeah,
it's gonna
like
be,
who's
it's gonna be it's gonna be a stupid thing, or maybe it won't be.
Thomas, maybe Thomas Vanek's kid, Brandon. Was it Brandon?
Who's
His name?
projected to have that? Oh, actually, we wouldn't know who's projected to
Yeah,
have
we
that
wouldn't.
pick.
Yeah, we wouldn't know. Well, either Florida or Edmonton, unless they've traded those picks.
Be somebody with bloodlines or connections. That is my guess.
Yeah,
Or a
yeah,
cool name.
or Great Britain legend and superstar Connor Lee, maybe.
I didn't know J Molk was getting to pick somebody for an NHL team.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, but
Shout
you're
out J
probably right.
Molk,
Like
one of our Great Britain viewers.
maybe Rio Kaiser, just draft a 6'8" defenseman and pray to God that something works there.
Oh, he'll go
Someone
higher
gigantic.
maybe because
Yeah, I feel like he might
size.
go higher. Yeah. Artyom Vilchinsky? No. Anyway, but it's gonna be fun.
I know who
Actually,
Will would pick.
sometime.
You know who
Who?
you would pick. I literally forgot his name. Oh, Ivan Famine. That's his name. Yes.
Oh yeah, yeah. If someone gave me future considerations or gave me a 7th round pick for future considerations, and then I just never called them back, it would be Ivan Famine.
Yep.
Troy Terry has been disappointing since signing that deal. Isn't Troy Terry part of the scores a lot of goals and doesn't have any assists club? I could be wrong on that. I'm not
He's still
trying
pretty
to.
good though. Like,
No, I
just
know, but like,
Anaheim's not.
yeah. I mean, yeah. Yeah, he was part of
Oh
that,
my
but he's
goodness.
changed. What?
Yeah, Anaheim might sign Sam Bennett, man. They have almost $40 million in cap space.
Hell yeah. I don't think you get this wild mismanagement of Rossi without Yurov coming over. For some reason, they seem confident he'll replace Rossi's offense and can be their 2C. Well, that's dumb. That is just a dumb line of thinking. Like, Danilo Yurov is not that much bigger than Marco Rossi, I don't think.
Not that much
Unless
younger.
he's. Well,
Wasn't
yeah,
he
he's
also
also
a winger? I swear he was a winger.
Yeah, I've more often seen him play wing.
I just think Bill
Yeah, he's
Guerin doesn't
6'1",
like
so he's
small.
a little bigger. He's 6'1", 176. Marco Rossi's 5'9", 195. Like, Marco Rossi is a tank. I don't know. I mean, I don't mind Yurov, but I think he is more of a good second, third line winger. Like I think last season was a little bit of an overcorrection on what his KHL career. Like this year makes a little bit more sense as like what he is as a player. Like he's a good, solid KHL player, and he's 21. He's going to turn 22, so he's still not old. But I mean, yeah, like if you think that you can bet on Danila Yurov, who hasn't played a single NHL game, over a guy like Marco Rossi, I would. That's just insane to me. Like that the logic there isn't logicking. Like it makes no sense. So whatever.
I have something incredible that I have just discovered. Now, this
boy.
money will get all spent beforehand, I imagine, but this year the Anaheim Ducks have close to $39 million in cap space. This also takes into consideration that none of the money from the years prior are being spent. But currently, for 2026, they have $74 million. And it gets even better. You know how much money they have for 2027, 28?
$1 billion.
$102 million of free cap space. That's crazy.
A team. That's a second team. That's insane.
It's crazy. They've just like not committed to anybody. Sam Bennett, here you come.
Could you imagine if you and I worked for a team that was in that kind of a position? We have that much cap space and all those draft picks over the last 3 or 4 years. Like,
awesome.
Our team would be the most annoying bunch of tiny little rats in the entire universe, and we'd spend all that money.
We'd rebrand to the Anaheim Mini Ducks.
No. We'd rebrand back to the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim. That is what I am strong-arming that change and doing whatever I can to bring that back because, my God, what an epic branding thing that was.
Yeah, we'll spend half of our cap space on getting the naming rights back.
Yeah. Anaheim Ducks sounds like a picnic. The Anaheim Ducks sounds like a picnic. The Mighty Ducks of Anaheim sounds like a nightmare. So I don't know why you changed it, but whatever. Also, good children's cartoon, by the way. Really good children's cartoon. I remember that was good. And yes, I agree. I am a desert rat. You call me a desert rat, I am one. Arizona would work fine with competent ownership. Yes, it
Yes.
would, and a good, well-placed arena.
It's like the fourth or fifth largest metropolitan area in the United States.
And it's one of 3 that's growing.
Yeah,
I think that San Antonio and Houston, I think, are the only American cities that are like growing in population of a certain size.
So it's
I think
stupid that hockey didn't work there. They just didn't do it right.
they just botched it.
They botched it for years.
Yeah, they botched it hard. Who should the Habs take at 17 after they walk off the stage with Bill Zonin at 16? Colin Potter.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you get both of those. Is there an under the radar guy that you think will be interesting but probably drafted in later rounds? I mean, Michael Sverchek probably will go too late, but I mean, I was told by someone that he's getting attention. Gustav Hillstrom.
Is that what's going to happen?
I have no comment. Gustav Hillstrom was one that I would say would be part of that group. I love Leo Sundqvist. I did another game of him. All 3 of those guys in Brynäs are all a ton of fun. And you have to believe that Leo Sundqvist will be a guy. Like, you just watch him play in the SHL. Just go watch him and see what he does, because he is a ton of fun. But beyond that, I mean, I'll be curious where a guy like, I don't know, Bruno Osmanis goes. I like him, Tinus Koblar, Sean Barnhill, Daniil Skvortsov, Cole Temple. All those guys are guys that I've liked that I think will get drafted, but probably later than they should go. Like, they're all in my mid to late second round, but they're probably going to go later. What is this? Whatever. Boot and Simashev signed DLCs. Yes, we did that. Kreider, Tip God, agreed. Whose 50-goal season was more legit, Kreider or Hyman? Hyman, easy.
Hyman, it's not close.
How did Alexandre Blais look? Do you see any potential with him in the NHL? I don't. I think Blais is a good example of a guy who's a skilled offensive player in the QMJHL, but like, he got shut down, I think, pretty easily in the Memorial Cup. And every time I've seen him in the queue, it's like, I don't know about an NHL. Like, he's not going to be a bottom 6 player in the NHL. I just don't think that's in his future. And I don't think he's like in making especially with the Ducks, like with what the Ducks seem to value and want. Like, they'll take a guy like Beckett Seneca and put him in the top 6, but a guy like Blais, I don't think is on the same level. So yeah, I don't think so personally.
Okay, so I was wrong about Phoenix. It's 10th, but in the United States,
it's still big.
That's large.
Still big. Yep. I mean, how many people live there? Because like in Canada, probably one of the biggest cities in Canada.
Putting in Phoenix, Mesa, and Chandler, Arizona, it's about 5,200,000.
So like basically a little less than the GTA.
Like 2 million less than the
GTA. Yeah.
Like, so that it's more comparable. The GTA is more comparable with Houston, Pasadena, and Woodlands.
Okay. Pasadena, eh?
They're together. It's put in it's greater Houston, right? Like, that's what it's
back to Carolina. Of course. I'd like to see a guy like Nadeau play more. Do you think he could play more games in their bottom 6? I mean, yeah, I think in Carolina they might give him a go down there in the bottom 6, like a third line guy who can play a little bit of offensive hockey. Sure.
Speaking of Carolina, where do you think they rank? Like, where does Raleigh rank in terms of
27th?
Lower.
36th.
Lower.
50th.
Higher.
40th.
Very close. It's 41st.
Okay.
But like, see?
Sometimes.
Like, isn't that kind of insane that Carolina, like Raleigh, Carolina.
So you're saying NHL team in Halifax?
No. Definitely not. Don't do that.
Maybe in 2050. Maybe 2050 we'll get there.
Yeah, when the league expands to 64 teams.
Yes, with 2 divisions. Canadian, but yes, I could see Nadeau in the bottom 6. Yes, it's possible. And there's going to be jobs. Thoughts on Maddox Labre? I don't have
sick
many.
Name though.
Yeah, Maddox Labre. I mean, he's I think there's a bit of skill there. He's got a bit of that sort of deception on the puck and all that stuff. But again, he hasn't really moved the needle for me. It's like the thing is with him, it's like, when is he a guy that I'm comfortable drafting relative to the other defensemen I have on my list? And I just don't think there's an answer for that. I just don't think he crosses that level. Like the lowest ranked defenseman, like the guy I really like that I don't think will get drafted, but every time I watch him, I love is Rocky Longvart in Sweden. And so if I'd rather have a guy like that, then it doesn't really matter, right? Like Max Senichka is one that I have on my list, and like I would take him first too. Like the other one too, I would have picked him last year, but Ludwig Johnson is in my second round, and he'll probably be undrafted again. So what difference does it make? Like I don't think he crosses that level. Anthony Alain Samake is another one. Like Aaron Dahlqvist over in Europe, I think he's an interesting, like raw but rangy, physical, shutdown guy who might have some upside that I just haven't seen in Labre. So I just have found better options from my eyeballs elsewhere. I personally love when you guys answer my fantasy would you rather's, Dvorsky or Hellenius.
Uh,
Hellenius, maybe.
yeah, I honestly, it's so like once you get into these level of prospects and like they're not bad players, but like it's so murky and
Yeah.
it is so deployment based that it's like
And it depends on
it's all about who gets luckier in terms of where they're playing in a lineup.
And like who is and I feel like Hellenius will get a job full time before Dvorsky, maybe.
Possible.
I mean, I look at Buffalo and I don't know.
Well,
who knows?
If a quarter of the roster wants to leave,
yeah,
it's Hellenius for sure.
Yeah,
but it's I don't know. I don't think there's a strong answer that I can give. Like I'm not confident. I would say with 60% confidence. I mean, at 60, honestly, like a 60% chance that Hellenius ends up being better for fantasy purposes, but like I don't know.
Okay, so really by the way, just for transparency, Frank Saravalli said with his mouth, at least a quarter of the Sabres roster are unhappy with the direction of the team. Owen Power, Alex Tuch, Matthias Samuelsson, and other core players could enter the trade market. If the Buffalo Sabres are forced to move Alex Tuch because he's tired of being a Buffalo Sabre,
come to Toronto, please.
Fold the team. Alex Tuch, I will never forget how excited Alex Tuch was to go play for the Buffalo Sabres and like how much of his hometown team. And he hasn't even been there that long. And I love Alex Tuch. Like he's only 29 too. That's crazy. But yeah, he's been with Buffalo. Oh, he's actually been there quite a while. Wow, time flies.
Yeah,
he's been there 4 seasons.
Yeah.
But still, that's not like eternal, But wow, he's been with Buffalo as long as he was with Vegas. Oh my God, the pandemic has just scrambled my brain. This is crazy. But regardless, that's a crazy one. Nazar or Benson? I go Nazar, I would say. Like, I feel like if Chicago, they have a much bigger role for him, he'll probably, I mean, if you track face-offs, he'll take face-offs, I think.
Oh, is this fantasy-wise?
I mean, yeah, I think so. It's when you answer my fantasy would you rathers. Dvorsky or Hellenius, then Nazar or Benson,
then
Leonard
Benson's
or Coronado.
going to be a pretty productive player, though?
Like, yeah, but again, it's also Buffalo. Like,
it is, but it's also Zach Benson.
But like, if you're tracking, I guess if you're tracking hits and stuff, Benson will give you those. I don't know. I mean, flip a coin, really. Like, I probably lean Nazar, but I don't know. Like, again, like you said, like if there's like 30 teams in this league, then I think it's more important to answer these questions. But also, like, a lot of prospects are not super impactful NHL players at the end of the day. Like, they're helpful and you like having them around.
Impactful fantasy players.
Yes,
like,
relative to others. Yeah,
I think that's why I don't like dynasty leagues, because honestly, the thing that gets me going all the time is I'm checking daily face-off a lot to see where guys are being played, so that I can just pick them up, add them quickly, and then fill out my schedule for the week and just be like, okay, I'm getting the most games, and this guy's playing on this line, and with power play, and that's generally how I win. Like, the league I'm in is folding now because I've won too many years in a row. I'm not even kidding. I've won.
That is true. That's
I
a true
I
statement.
won 5 of the last 6 years, and nobody wants to play anymore. So, because
Nobody wants to play with me.
I'm just that good, man. I'm just that
Right.
good. So I don't know. I just it's tough. It's really tough with dynasty questions because like things change so quickly. Like Zach Benson could be super valuable for like 2 weeks next year, and then now Frank Nazar's super valuable because he's getting the right deployment.
Right. Okay. Paterka or Rossi? I personally go Rossi,
Rossi.
but it's close, but mostly
Oh,
because
but this
Rossi's
is
a natural
fantasy.
center.
It's fantasy,
And
right?
no, this is a different comment.
Then Rossi.
I love Paterka, like I love him, but for me, yeah, I think I go Rossi. What do you think Kyle Dubas and Wes Clark will do at the draft? Best guess would be Eklund or even Kindle. I mean, yeah, Kindle strikes me as a Kyle
Yes.
Dubas guy.
Yes.
Jake O'Brien, maybe if he's still there. Lakovic, maybe.
Yeah, I could see Lakovic.
You know, like those types of players, maybe.
I could definitely see
Something like
Lakovic because he's smart. You know?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
why'd they bring in Fraser Minton? Because as you like to say, he's a nerd.
He's a nerd. Yep, he's a nerd.
And Linden is a great kind of nerd.
He is a nerd, yes. Liesel or Isaac Howard? I go Liesel, but I love Isaac Howard. Don't get me wrong. He's a good player, but I probably go Liesel. I don't know if this is. I mean, if it's fantasy, it doesn't matter. At this point, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm always going to go Fabian no matter what.
I mean, yeah, Fabian Liesel will play next year. Isaac Howard will not. So there's that. Thoughts on the CHL Under Armour jerseys? They're doing Under Armour jerseys.
Oh.
I mean, Under Armour's been doing NCAA stuff for a while, so I don't know. I mean, I'd rather Under Armour do it than Fanatics, but we have an affiliate code, so use it if you want it. But in terms of making jerseys, like yeah, nobody uses it. Like nobody. I feel like there's a lot of people who just refuse to buy things from Fanatics, which whatever. I understand it, but like we need money.
Yeah. What?
No,
yeah, buy us a billion coffees. We need to bring this back.
Buy us a billion coffees or buy a billion hats on Fanatics. But I mean,
no,
Under
a billion
Armour, like,
jerseys. That's more money for us.
Yeah,
find the most expensive item and buy a billion of those so we can get money, or just give us the money. That would help a lot more.
Yeah, just or you know, or if you want to get something for your money, you could subscribe to the website where we've got all kinds of fun toys and stuff on there that you could check out. So there's that too. But I mean, I don't know, like Under Armour could botch it and make terrible jerseys, and then it wouldn't work out so well. But I mean, Under Armour is a good brand. They've made jerseys before, and they haven't had, I don't think, complaints about their work with their college work and all that stuff. Cool. So cool. It could be fun.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, whatever. Sure. Oh yeah, Justin Carbonell's going to Boston College. So that's a very good place for him to go. Definitely should be an NCAA guy at some point. Do you think that San Jose could be on Rossi, because it sounds like a Greer thing to do just on a value standpoint? On paper, yes, but does Mike Greer want another small skill guy? Like he strikes me as the type of person who definitely wants a little bit of everything on the team, which is why they've drafted guys like Kasper Haltonen and who else? Chernyshov and blah 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 blah. So we'll see. I can see it happening. I would do it if I'm him. But it seems like if that report about Philadelphia is true, the sentiment around the league is that they don't like Marco Rossi as a player, at least not as much as what he wants for money. But I would give it to him.
Yeah,
I would give it to him and pay a first round pick to do it.
So, Will, here's my question. Would you, let's say hypothetically, let John Tavares walk and trade for Marco Rossi?
Sure. Like what? I mean, what are we trading? You know,
well,
what are you trading?
let's say it's the first round pick that in this hypothetical.
Well, yeah.
Or of equivalent value, because the Toronto Maple Leafs don't have anything. Many first round picks.
They don't have anything. You're looking at like Easton Cowan. That's it. So, I mean, would I trade Easton Cowan for a Marco Rossi? Probably.
It's also tough though, because they have nothing. They have nothing to trade.
Like they have nothing. I don't think there's a guarantee that Easton Cowan is like a high end NHL player, but But Rossi, geez, like he's been so good and he's been moved up and down the lineup and good the whole time. And I don't know.
Again, he
Anyway,
scored with Justin Brazeau and Yakov Trenin on his flanks.
yep.
Against who was it? Vegas? Yeah, against the Vegas Golden Knights.
Yep.
That guy's awesome.
Yep. Any thoughts on Desnoyers not being used on faceoffs during the Memorial Cup despite being 60% in the regular season? Is he playing center at all this tournament? I don't think he is. He honestly, in a lot of the games that I saw down the stretch of Moncton, he wasn't playing center either. I agree. Like he should be taking faceoffs because he was probably the best faceoff guy in this entire draft class. But I mean, maybe they think that in the playoffs they want someone heavier and more solid on his feet than
Or maybe he's
Desnoyers,
playing
but
hurt and can't.
yeah,
take
if he's
draws
hurt, then
as
that's
well.
another thing.
Like
Yeah, if he's
that's
hurt,
another
that's
thing
different.
to consider.
Yeah, but he hasn't played center for a long time. Like it's been a while. So I don't know if I don't know what's going on, but yeah. There's a lot of stuff that could be going on there. Anaheim is rumored to be offering Mitch Marner a lot of money. I mean, I would argue that I could send out a tweet and copy paste it with 31 different teams and say this team is rumored to be offering Mitch Marner a lot of money. Like I feel like Toronto will let Mitch Marner walk and 31 other teams will go, I'll take him, and spend whatever it takes to get on the table and negotiate with him. So
he's gonna make a ridiculous amount.
He's
of
going to
money.
make a ridiculous amount of money. Yeah, like
I would not be honestly. He's gonna be the highest. He could be the highest paid player in the league for a season or so.
For a season, yeah, because McDavid's next year and he's going to make more. But
so Mitch Marner's gonna price Connor McDavid right into a $16 million range after he collects a $14 million contract or something like that.
Yeah. From what I've heard, the next two drafts are loaded with talent. I know it's still really early, but would you agree? I would not agree, not because I disagree that the talent is good next year and the year after, but the fundamental of the question is not logical. For me, this is a thing. Like I've been doing this long enough now, where this is a common thing, and all of my pals will say the same thing, where there's a draft class and in the summer you get excited. You're like, nice, it's a new year. This is going to be fun. It's a good time. And then by October, November, December, you go, oh, maybe this isn't as maybe it's a little bit more like previous years than we thought. And then by like February, March, you're like, all right, like there are some guys and it's fine, but like I'm kind of disappointed relative to coming into the season. And then you start going around April, May, you go, man, next year's draft kind of does look fun. There are some pretty good players. And the cycle repeats itself, right? Like this is just how it goes. And fans do it. Everybody does it, right?
Only
like,
1 year that it was true. 2023 was awesome.
It was. But I think this year, like Look, the thing that's interesting, and I was actually talking with the better half of the household last night about this because we were talking about how somehow the topic of this kind of thing came up. It was something about U.S. hockey and how I was talking to someone else, not the other half. We were talking about how the NTDP is this year now a bit of an issue because registrations for the 2007 and 2008 and 2006 even birth years are lower than previous years in the USA. And that might be why the US talent level compared to previous iterations of the NTDP are not as highly valued. And the interesting thing that she actually came up with that I didn't even think about was that what happened in the United States in 2007, 2008, 2009, that also kind of happened in Canada that might restrict a parent's ability to register their kid in ice hockey.
The recession.
Exactly. So there very likely is a bit of an effect where the kids on the margins of socioeconomic status got pushed out of the game because their parents had no money or had a lot less money because of the recession, and they were financially recovering from that scenario. That didn't happen as bad in Canada. That was a phenomenon that didn't happen as badly in Canada. But in the United States, it was a big deal. And you could make the argument that the United States is still not really fully recovered from that. So
I remember my mother going to Buffalo like every week. to buy me clothes because our dollar was better for like a very
Yep.
small window of time.
Dude, like entire cities kind of got wiped off the map. like like Detroit went from something to a ghost town in a lot of ways for a while there. Like it was rough. I was in college when that was going on, and that was some bad times. That was bad. But anyway, we're not here to talk about 2007. But that's the thought, right?
The
Like, it's
best
like
time of my life, 2007. Milan
it
won the
was.
Champions League.
It was. I guess I had fun. I liked my university program. It was fun. I got a nice piece of paper out of it, and I liked my program. It was
Wait,
fun. I had
you
a
were
lot
in
of fun.
university in 2007?
No, 2008. But like I was I was finishing high school into
Oh,
2008.
okay, okay.
So
That
like
makes
that
sense.
era of my life kind of thing, that kind of adventure. But yeah, so I think that's a big part of it is that's a factor, and it's a trickle down effect, right? And the other thing too that she also mentioned was that since the pandemic, you're also dealing now with the 17 and 18-year-olds who are going to get drafted next year. They have been in an academic setting dealing with the pandemic for pretty much their entire time in high school now. Like when these guys were in grade 9, grade 8, the pandemic hit. And now they might be old enough to like play for an NHL team or something or get drafted by an
Yeah.
NHL team. So their access to training facilities or their access to consistent ice time and consistent time with a team through your teen years like 14, 15, 16, 17 very likely could have been affected at a really pivotal time. So maybe you're still in the recovery period of that. So
Hey, but Will,
I'm
you know
only
what state remained pretty open throughout the pandemic?
don't do this to me. Please
And
don't.
you know what state has been to the Stanley Cup Finals the last 6 years? It's your favorite place in the world. Maybe they should have just stayed open. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. You know what's crazy?
Just get
by the
COVID
way,
and play hockey. It's simple.
here's a sidebar.
No.
Here's a sidebar for the show
Don't take
before
it
we end the
seriously
show.
what I'm saying. Okay, please.
This is crazy. This was a crazy thing that I did not believe until I looked it up for myself. But in the last 28 days, 1,200 people have died of coronavirus around the world. Guess how many of that 1,200 are American?
1,100 or whatever.
Close. It's over 1,000. Over 1,000. And yeah, so I mean, take that for what you will. But you know, uh, good job. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that there are economic factors at play here that I think are trickling down historically and making things a little wonkier, especially in a sport like hockey, where it is not cheap to play, it is not cheap to operate a team, it is not cheap to do any of these things. And we've been through some tough times in the last 20 years while these kids have grown up in the environment and all that stuff. And so, yeah, the selection is probably just the selection of talent is probably lower. All right, let's continue here and get out of here. What do we got?
That's a great point.
Stankoven? Yes, it is. Can Stankoven cement himself in Carolina's top 6? Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
He's a Seth Jarvis level player. Maybe even better.
I think he's amazing. The scouting report on me is apparently that I'm low pace and I need good line mates to succeed. That's true. Yeah, that's true. I have the inattentive version of ADHD. I think you have the hyperactive.
Oh, I have the combined type.
So when you combine our neurodivergence together, you get the balance of the force, right? Like
I would say I'm a little more
you're Darth Vader, I'm Luke Skywalker, and now there's balance in the force.
Yeah, I'm the chosen one.
Isn't that how it works?
That's right. I'm the chosen one. I was created by the force. I have no dad.
Yeah, the midichlorians made AJ.
Yeah.
They want to replace Marner with Kreider and Jamie Benn. That's gonna be awesome.
No,
Amazon announced season 2 of Inside the NHL and they cooked. Who are they? Inside the NHL season 2.
Is that not the documentary that had Nick David freaking out? And
yeah, you should watch it, man. It's really good. Oh, whoa, look at that. Oh my god, oh boy. They got Sidney Crosby, Marc-Andre Fleury, Anze Kopitar, Matthew Tkachuk, Mikko Rantanen, William Nylander again, Thomas Harley,
William Nylander,
Quinton Byfield,
yes,
Wyatt Johnston, Seth Jarvis,
sick,
Sean Monahan, Brady Kachuk,
Cool.
and Zach Werenski, and you're gonna love this one, Brendan Shanahan. That is going to be. Oh, it's a movie. They're making it into a movie. Oh
Oh
my
God.
god.
I am
I mean,
going
this
to.
should be more than a movie, but whatever. Oh my god. What a cast. That's gonna be so sick.
Holy crap.
That's gonna be so sick.
You know,
So,
you know
so,
who
so
I'd
sick.
love on one of these? Just because I'd be so fascinated to hear what he thinks. Evan Bouchard. I think Evan Bouchard would be so
Oh
great.
yeah. Evan Bouchard would be awesome. Yeah, that would be a lot of fun.
They show Rayanne with the poster of of him. I made this in
Yep.
high school, man. I followed you
Yeah.
since you
Yeah.
were what is kid what was it? Freaking Oakville Rangers days. BS, Rayanne. You never lived here, you liar.
He wishes. All right. What else do we got here? If Verbeek gives 8 million to Sam Bennett or more, we're cooked. I mean,
Gonna be 10.
he's gonna. That's what Sam Bennett's gonna get. He's gonna get like 10. Yeah, he's gonna get a lot of money. I'm hoping that the Killorn, Stone, Gudas contracts were given out because the team was so bad and desperate for depth, and given because they would expire when his team enters contention. See, my thing with that though is they could have also spent that money on other guys that have a different version. I think they signed those guys for the reason that you said, but because they exemplify what the Ducks want.
Yeah.
Like, look at Greg Cronin. That's his style of coaching. They kept him there for a reason, right? Like, that's what they want. That's why they signed those guys. Gudas is the captain of the team. You don't draft temporary veteran guys who are just there as captain, right? Generally, that's the idea. So to me, I look at that and I go, that is what they want. They drafted what's his name? They drafted Stein Solberg. They drafted Nathan Gaucher in the first round. They have drafted big boys, right? And so yeah, I mean, I look at that and I go, that is what the Ducks think that they need. That's what it is. So yeah. How high are you on Everett? How high are you on Everett Baldwin? What's your read on him? So I have him on the watch list, but I don't really know. I mean, I like Baldwin. I think seeing him with the NTDP, you saw him, I think, still adjusting to not playing prep league hockey. He is a very much a, long bomb pass, shot volume type guy. He plays a style of play where I think that his development is really going to hinge on becoming a really high end skater, which I'm not sure he is right now, but he is a confident player. And if it's the middle rounds and you get a really good interview out of him and you really like him as a person, I would do it, right? Like, I think he's not that much further behind than a lot of the guys I have on my list, but the sample for me isn't what I want in a guy where I'm definitely looking at you as a draft target, but he's been solid. I've seen some good stuff out of him. So he's not what he was on my list before, where he was like a late second round pick, but yeah, he's probably on the tail end of my list by the end of the year. It's a good reminder for me to go check him out again, though. If Ilya Protas went undrafted last year and he was a re-entry into this year's draft, how high would he go? I mean, in all honesty, like, yeah, like he'd probably be in my second round. Maybe yeah, like mid second round, because he brings a lot of really good traits. Like, I had him ranked last year, but I didn't think he was going to be this good, and I still believe that he kind of overshot what he usually is capable of. But he's a good player. So yeah, but he would be on the list for sure. The Angels used to be the LA Angels of Anaheim. Yeah, that's the dumbest sports team name that ever existed. I will say that. Yeah. Yeah. I also, with regards to the Sabres, can you blame them? I mean, 13 years with no playoffs is wild. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I can't blame them. It's just, it's crazy to me that you actually had a really good player in the league who you got for Jack Eichel, who was excited to be part of the organization.
Who's
And
from
within
the area as well.
Yeah. And within half a decade before he turns 30, he's part of, maybe he wants to get out. That's wild to me. Again, I've said this about Buffalo for a long time. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I know how to fix things there, but I would love to be a fly on the wall there. I would love to see what's going on and like why it's happening and see why, because Like they have their analytics team now. They've gone out and spent the resources
Will,
to
we know the
modernize the
answer.
organization.
Come on, we know
What, that they have to live in Buffalo?
There's no palm trees.
Right. No palm trees. Yeah, that's true.
You can't win if you don't have palm trees. It's just
all the palm trees.
It's just science.
The palm trees that the Alberta government planted in Edmonton,
but
over
that's
the
why they
last
haven't won the
year
cup. They only get so close.
Yeah, but the trees haven't grown enough yet. Maybe they have this year. The trees are not quite enough. But like they're growing
Alberta's
palm
too
trees,
cold.
like
and those trees would catch on fire because that's what happens in Alberta summers. Fire
and in
flames.
Alberta they have the it's like the palm trees are like the trees that are in Dune in the city in Arrakis, like the trees that are like sacred to the land that the guy is like watering, and because it's like that's what it is like in Alberta because they want to win so bad. They've planted those trees. They have a guy they're paying just to keep those trees watered so the palm trees can be as high as possible to give them the best chance of winning the Stanley Cup. Like this is just what you got to do to win, right?
Yeah, it's easy, idiots. Plant palm trees.
Scouting report on Will's rematch play. I mean, after like 7 or 8 rounds, I feel like I kind of got okay at passing the ball, lobbing the ball. It was so funny last night with friggin' Rayan Tubeek. He was like, oh, there's no, first of all, here's the best part. He's like, you press the X? He's like, you press the X button. I'm using an Xbox controller, right? So he's like, oh, you press the X button to do this thing. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then I did the X button thing and it did not do what he said it would do. And then later on he mentions, oh, I'm playing with a PlayStation. What are you playing on? I'm like, well, I didn't know that. Like, how am I supposed to know? And then I'm like, well, there's got to be a button to like lob passes because you don't want to just be shooting it around. Yeah. And everyone else is like, no, you just use the shoot button to pass the ball around really far distances or whatever. And then I look and there is a lob button. And I'm like, am I the only one who played the tutorial of this game? And both of them went, no, yeah, we haven't played the tutorials. Yeah, because I want to know how to play the game. What am I gonna do? Like figure it out on the fly?
I look on YouTube and learn from people when I play games. Like I get tips from people who, actually I could well, not that I interact with necessarily, but it's like I feel like there's more practical examples on YouTube and learning stuff. I've learned everything. I mean, I learned how to play chess on YouTube. 1,600 rated player. It's not bad.
Yeah, if I'm gonna learn how to become if I'm learning how to be a good chess player, I'm not going to do it through chess.com. I'm going to watch someone do it. But if I'm learning how to press buttons in the right order to make a thing happen in a video game, I'll do the tutorial. I'll do the tutorial and figure it out from there.
I always find tutorials really frustrating. I don't know.
I don't know. This one was decent. The controls in that game are pretty janky, I will say. The controls are kind of janky. There's a lot of buttons that do a lot of things. And the dumbest thing about that game is the voice chat. If you turn it off, but during the game, someone scores a goal, the buttons that are sprint and shoot are unmute your microphone and turn on voice chat. So like you could be running and like sprinting and you score a goal, but you have your fingers on the buttons and it turns the voice chat on, and then you have to turn it off again you might not get it in time, so you have to go to the pause menu. And also somehow my controller got stuck. You hold a button and you go into like defense mode, not like running in a straight line. I got stuck in defense mode and I couldn't, all the other buttons didn't work.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Also, Rayan, I'm sorry, man. Like, you're a friend of mine and you're a good kid and everything, but you are not cracked at that game. Dude, the number of times that he's like, oh, I'm like Connor McDavid. I'm a hero. I'm a superhero. And one of the things you can do in the game is a rainbow kick. So you kick it off your heel and over your head, over front of the person that's checking you. He'll do that on every possession. He'll charge into like 2 guys and try to flip the ball over their heads, and then just like gets knocked out of the way and turns it over. This is
why Rayan didn't make the NHL. All skill. Well,
this is why Rayan had 28 goals and 2 assists. If you look up his hockey statistics,
wasn't he a defenseman?
As a defenseman,
as a defenseman.
So like, yeah, you can see how, yes, maybe he's more of a maybe Brent Burns at this game than a Connor
Uh,
McDavid. But I mean, I don't know.
I love
I'm
you,
half
Rain.
kidding. Yeah, we love you, and you had some good moments in goal last night. I remember that. That was pretty fun. Uh, I on the other hand am a goalkeeper. As a goalkeeper, I will do a very good job jumping out of the way, as Al Shabab in our Discord server called it, doing the Mario thing. Because when you want to jump and save a ball directly above your head, you go like this and jump in the air, and it's like Super Mario. And so I Mario out of the way every single time. So it's a fun game, though. It is fun. If anyone gives you, a beta invite, it's worth a shot. It's like Rocket League, but with soccer players. And there's like skill moves and all this stuff. It's kind of fun. So worth a try. But yes, I think that's going to be it for today. Oh, when are you getting your final draft rankings? I'll tell you the date, actually. I got to actually start solidifying those. The date will be June 26th. So the day before the draft, we're going to do that and get those out at the last minute because people will be paying the most attention then. So we will have that ready on the 26th, and we got to start putting that together very soon. So thanks very much for watching. This was fun.
Yeah.
We've been on way longer than we should, but
Just as long as we get off for around 4:20 for reasons,
yeah, exactly.
As we normally do.
AJ has business to attend to.
Certainly.
But yes.
No.
Yeah, no. We don't do that here.
Not this
anyways,
early in the day.
Makes you too dumb by 7 p.m. Anyway, thanks for joining us. This was a good time. We'll see you again Monday.
I think we'll see you again Monday? Let me check quick.
Well, Monday, what we're going to do Monday at the very least is we're going to do another mock draft. I don't know if I told you this, AJ, but we have Tony and Sam, I believe, for Monday night. And we're going to do a little NHL mock draft of the first round and go around the table like we did with Tony a few weeks ago, a month ago.
Sounds sick. I'm down.
Yep. So it'll be fun. Oh, so you're in?
Yeah.
You're in Monday night?
Yeah, I'm in Monday night. Good. I'm in the next 2 Mondays. I can do that. And then I get
cool.
night shifts after that on some of the Mondays. So.
Nice. Okay, well, on that note, we'll call it. Thanks very much for joining us. We'll see you Monday night for that, and have a good one, And again, get a subscription. You get access to our mock draft. You get access to our reports as soon as they're up, and yeah.
Toodles.
Have a good one.